Welcome to the Late Night with Chalky podcast. I'm Jay Late Night Larson.
And I'm Lyndon Chalky Cabellion. In each episode, we will be talking to different surfers and surf shops to learn more about them and their passion for surfing. We will be diving deep into their experiences as well as their involvement and contributions to their local communities.
Be sure to check out our website and Instagram feed for updates on future shows. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to sharing these great stories with you.
Before we start the show, a word from our sponsor.
Lyndon, we got sponsors?
Hell yeah, we do.
Well, I guess we got to thank Dash Mortgage and You First Realty.
Who are those guys?
They're your full service mortgage and real estate brokerage.
Who is behind that?
Our good friend Dan Horgan.
Dan Horgan?
Yeah, he not only rips out in the water, but he's an experienced loan professional.
So, what does he do?
He helps out in conventional FHA, VA, refi, or jumbo loan products.
So Dan has the lenders to make it happen.
Yes, and he'll give you the best service in the industry.
Nice. Dash mortgage with no bogus fees or points.
That's right. Just give Dan 5 minutes of your time to hear what he can do for you.
So who does all the real estate then?
That would be me.
What?
Well, Dan has his license too, but I work under Dan.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
so
you're a real estate agent too?
you know this.
Oh, yeah, I remember now.
I helped you get your house.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
All right.
So if you're looking to buy, sell your home, or looking for an investment property, give me a call.
So not only a RUCA rep, you're an experienced realtor?
Yeah, I didn't quit my day job, London. I still work for Ruka.
Okay.
I do real estate on the weekends. Yeah, I've been offering great incentive programs for all my friends and family to keep more equity in their pocket.
I guess I'm not a friends or family because I never heard about this.
But all you on the Late Night and Chalky podcast,
Saul.
call our office, 714-784-5736, and mention the Late Night with Chalky podcast.
Nice. Anything else we need to know about Dash Mortgage?
Just our California Realtor BRE number, 01993245.
Okay, let's stop talking about real estate and mortgages. Let's talk about what really matters. And what is that?
Surf trips.
And where do we like to go?
Off my mind, Nicaragua.
And where do we stay in Nicaragua?
The one and only Mark and Dave's.
Mark and Dave's. An exclusive, inclusive, all-inclusive
Oceanfront
boutique hotel on the beach. Waves out front, ponga drops, waves down the beach, Colorado's, where I saw Late Night Lar get shactified.
Oh, insane in the membrane down there. Tons of barrels, but better yet, it's not just the surf that's insane down there. It's just this compound that they have. Killer poolside, killer food, top of the line chefs, you name it.
It's in a safe, gated community. They'll pick you up at the airport. They'll drop you off at the house. There's ping pong table. There's
Horseback riding.
There's horseback riding.
Yeah.
There's world class fishing.
Golfing.
There's golfing. The scenic. I mean, it's the best.
You could get a massage after surfing for 4 hours in the morning.
Yeah. So it's great for people that are traveling by themselves. It's a great place to bring your family. It's a great place to have a retreat. It's a great place to have, you know what I'm saying? Bachelor parties. You know what I'm saying?
I think we've been there for all of the above.
We might have. So go to Mark and Dave's website and mention Late Night with Chalky podcast, and you're going to get $200 off selected weeks for the rest of 2019.
Oh, sign me up. This is insane.
Mark and Dave's. Friends and family, brothers and sisters, welcome to the Late Night with Chalky podcast.
Yes, thank you. And we have here HB Loco Brett Simpson. Simpo.
Two-time world... No, wait.
I'll take it.
Take it world.
Two-time world champion.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
Also,
I stole
two-time
my Slaters.
U.S. Open of Huntington Beach.
Two times.
Two-time world... What is it? U.S. Open?
U.S. Open.
Yeah.
We'll take that.
Great, dude.
Yeah.
Always with the phone with
Hey.
Larson.
Hey, I'm busy. Man of many hats.
No, we are fucking super stoked to have Simpo here on the Late Night with Chalky podcast.
For sure.
In the beautiful
Thank you,
home
boys.
of Jay Larson,
Thank
Late
you.
Night.
Whew.
So, let's start at the beginning, Simpo.
Where did it all start?
Yeah. Where were you born?
I was born. Well, I guess we'll start by both my parents were born in Michigan.
Okay.
Both went to Michigan State. That's kind of the background. Dad got drafted by the Rams for the NFL.
Okay.
Moved
Not
out-
military.
Moved out here. Yeah, not military. Played football. Moved out here, and I was born in Long Beach. I'm the third of 4 children.
Nice.
Pretty much that was kind of
what part of Long Beach did you grow up in?
Well, no.
I'm from Long Beach.
I born in Long Beach,
Okay.
Memorial.
Okay.
Grew up in Garden Grove. Right over Lamson and Valley View. Right?
Okay.
Like you go up Bolsa Chica, turns to the
Yeah.
Lamson.
Yep.
Right
Yeah.
there.
Right there.
Almost like Ross Morris Hill Beach.
Same thing. You're
Yeah.
right on the border of the base there.
Got it.
And I really didn't start surfing. I played a lot of ball sports. I obviously played football, baseball.
Super jock.
No, super jock. Not a lot of football. Obviously, I was young. Played flag football. Went to Catholic school for about 6 years. Dad had a little tussle with a referee, and then kind of pulled me out. Went to a different school. It was all good. It was actually probably the most beneficial thing that could ever happen for me.
Relocating schools.
Yeah, and all of a sudden I met Willie Seyfried, who you guys know.
Yeah.
He went to Bell, which is right off of Springdale. If you
Okay.
take Springdale pretty much past Westminster, it's still Garden Grove. But,
Yeah.
went there, met Willie. He was like I think a grade older. And it was pretty much
He rode for
So,
HSS.
from then on, it was on. And
Yeah.
obviously, well, before that, I got my first board when I was 12.
Okay.
The
Do you remember
Christmas of frick.
Did
If I was probably 97. I don't have the board still, which is kind of a bummer. But my first 2 boards are Roger Hines Country surfboards. My dad just went randomly. I don't know who he met, but custom ordered them. Like I remember it was maybe a 5'10", and then I went down to 5'8".
Yeah.
Okay.
For my second board. And they were both shorties. Red rails, my first one, and then the second one was all red.
Nice.
And all I remember was a pain in the ass. Like, obviously starting with a little bit more board is easier.
Yeah.
But I was young, so I felt like I can do this, but it was still hard.
Yeah.
And I think
Who
that's
got
what
into
Jimmy,
surfing? Safried?
a next door neighbor.
Okay.
Jimmy, what's his, dude, I don't even know their last name, but he didn't surf like avidly, but surfed, went in the summer, Seal Beach, fell in love. We were boogie boarding, brought a board,
Yeah.
and that was kind of the end all.
Were you
And then-
were you a beach like family? Like, did you go to the
yeah,
beach with your dad?
yeah.
and
My
stuff?
mom
And-
obviously loved it. She
Yeah.
obviously loved the Cali weather. My dad didn't really care for it, but yeah, they were around it. You
Yeah.
know, my mom loved it. She
Yeah.
obviously she was the one that would take me a lot in the mornings, and we'd go. I was even going before school, even at like the middle school level, which. It's one thing when you're at the surf team, when you got to be there at 8, you got to
Yeah.
go pretty early, and only get a surf for a quick window.
So how old were you when your neighbor took you surfing for the first
It was
time?
probably about 11.
11.
The summer of probably 96.
Then you got your own first board.
Yeah, and
12.
then that summer, that December, I got a brand new board, and then I turned pretty much 12 that January.
Nice.
And so that was kind of like,
And that's when you met Safried after
I
that?
met Willie right then thereafter. Actually was starting to get a little bit better, and he had been competing for quite a few years already, I think.
Yeah.
USSF at the time,
Wow.
NSSA. And so I kind
So
of
he got the bug early.
I just tagged along, yeah. And I don't even know how his parents they owned a condo in San Clemente, so I don't know if that. But yeah, even his backstory to
But
fully starting competing.
that seems about the age appropriate where like most kids are balancing
Yeah.
like, you know, collegiate sports or
For
like
sure.
team sports to like, you know, trying out individual sports
And I
like surfing.
say, like now, like maybe the last say, I don't know, 5-10 years, it seems like kids are kind of born into it.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
at a young age, doing it very early at
Yeah.
like a pretty elite level. But I felt like you really don't turn the corner to like 12, 13, 14.
For sure.
Till you grow, you
gotta
have
have-
that power.
You gotta have
and-
power.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta have some weight. You gotta have
Exactly.
some confidence in the surf, especially
Yeah.
if it's, you know, overhead.
And for me, that was kind of it. Like, I'd probably say I want to say one of my first events was in Hermosa Beach, USSF. 6-man heats. I remember it was like big closeouts. I think my mom still had some footage. But I was like, I felt like I probably was better than I was, maybe a little cockier or something. And I like made it out the back. No one else made it out the back. Caught one wave, but it's top 3, you know. And I caught one wave thinking like, and then everyone else riding whitewash, and I come in and I lost. And I just remember being so pissed.
You're like,
My
I'm the
mom's
only guy that made it out the
I'm never
back.
taking you to another contest. Like, you're being a poor sport.
Oh.
And I kind of was like, man, this is like a lot more than just obviously surfing. Like,
Right.
you know, strategics and all that. And
So the wussies that stayed inside
I made the heat, you know.
Because they caught all their waves.
They caught the 3 waves,
Yeah.
and I went out the back. It was straight. Hermosa, straight handers at the pier, like just closing out. From what I remember, I pretty much just dropped in and rode it straight,
Yeah.
you know.
But you thought,
But I thought, like, hey, I made it out
Yeah.
there. Like,
I'm the
screw
only
that,
kid
you
that
know?
made it out there.
And that was like a win in itself, you know. I felt
sure.
like, but you're not rewarded for that.
Yeah.
So,
Mike Balzer made that wave look incredible.
Oh,
and
for
that's
many
like
years.
the covers I used to see,
Yeah.
you know.
He used to
You
take a
and
lot of
D-Ba.
photos.
I got a couple out
Into the
there.
pier cover. I'm like, dude, this wave's sick, but then you got there and closing out on the wrong side of the pier.
The lighting makes it.
Yeah, the lighting's
Yeah.
good. But
So-
then that was kind of the set off to like, hey, I'm obviously not good enough right now, but I was just so hungry to get better,
Yeah.
you know, and it was kind of like for me, I started at Seal,
Yeah.
surf the river.
Would you ride your bike to?
No, I could have, but that would have been it was a little hike. I
Yeah.
could have for sure.
Oh, dude, you should hear
But-
this guy's story.
Yeah, I guarantee.
I think he talks about it every episode.
Yeah.
I won't bring it up this time, but you're a pussy.
Looking back, I'm like, yeah, I should have for sure if I was that committed. But I ended up, you know, hustling some rides. Started Seal. I remember surfing, and you know, the tour would come in town, watching U.S. Open, go down there, sit on the pier.
Yeah.
I remember surfing Hurricane Guillermo at the river at Seal, and it was big, and my mom was freaking out, and just it started to get better and like competing.
Did
and,
your siblings surf
No.
too? You're the
None of
only
them
one out of
surf.
the family.
Yeah, none of them
Crazy.
surf.
And you're the middle child, or
I'm like the third, yeah.
Third.
Older sister, older brother, myself, younger sister.
nice.
Yeah. And yeah, it was just like, obviously it was a little, I started to obviously meet people. Willie started to go to the contest, started to compete a little bit better, making heats. And I guess at about 15-ish, I want to say Garth Tarlow picked me up at O'Neill.
Wow, okay.
And that was obviously Garth's a lot of knowledge.
Yeah.
Was able to kind of put me in
He's
positions.
come up a couple times.
He does a great job. Like,
He knows how to pick the.
He
got an
definitely
eye for
has an
talent.
eye for talent at a
Yeah.
young age, and it got to a point where at one point where it was like, dude, he had everybody, myself, Nathaniel Kern, the Gadowskises,
Yeah.
Nathan Carroll in Hawaii, and we're all in the same age, kind of like wanting to beat each other.
Yeah.
You know, it was like something's got to give here.
Yeah.
You know, and I think. As I grew there, but I can't thank him for
So
gave-
O'Neill was your first.
O'Neill was my
At
first.
what age
main
was that?
Well, no, actually, counterculture at
You were for
Pod
counterculture?
for like a year or two.
Shuey.
Yeah, Shuey, yeah, and they kind of took care of me, and that was kind of like it's one of those things, and like I feel it now where like
How long did you ride for
probably a
counterculture?
year or two,
Yeah.
and I feel that now where like you need this jump start, and there's kids around here where we flow a little deal with Hurley or whatever, and it's like. And they're a young age where you want to give them that chance to grow. It's just another excitement level to like give them that opportunity. Like, hey, maybe you're good enough, you know, or whatever it is. And those things obviously helped a lot.
Yeah.
Took care.
Yeah,
of
getting a free box of clothes and then
it
going
just gives you that confidence
Yeah.
of like, okay, maybe this is like
We
you know?
talked to like Timmy and a couple people about getting that first sponsor and getting that first box of.
Yeah, that dude.
You know?
Even like it kind of doesn't almost get that old. Like,
No,
I'm
hell
even
no.
now, if Hurley sends me a box, I'm like, hell yeah,
Yeah.
Like, dude.
You're like taking it out of the package,
Yeah,
you
you're
put
like,
it on the
whoa, they
bed, you're
still
like-
care about me.
Yeah, I mean, you were over the moon about it, but what about your parents? Like, they've probably
For
been
sure.
so stoked. Like, hey, you're doing something.
Dude, I remember vividly before that going to Tilly's and me and my mom and I just fighting all the time. Like, I want this. Like, no, we can't afford that. And it's like, all of a sudden, it's like, dude, it's taken care of.
Yeah.
You know? And
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, it's
They're like, this is kind of
thousands
cool.
of dollars, you know? And I think that was a hard thing for my dad at the first. He's like, kid, are you freaking serious? Like, you're really going to go and, like,
try to be
surfing? Like, all of a sudden, out of the blue, like,
Yeah.
you're good at baseball, you're doing well at this. Like, people you're 6th grade,
And
high schools want you to go there, and you want to go do
Not
this.
to dig into what your dad made, but he was, he's pro football.
Well, for an elite level, he kind of was like, man, you put all
What did
this
he play?
time,
What position?
Free safety.
Okay.
So he's probably at his prime, like 6'2", 200 pounds.
Yeah.
And I mean, quicker, just like, I guess a knack. Like that game is more of a knack,
How long was he?
He played, he was in the league 8 years. A year off. He went, I want to say he went 4 years in LA. Then he went to, I want to say a year off and then 3 years in Buffalo.
Wow.
Had a couple knee things, ACL, MCL, recovered.
How hard was that for him to move from LA to Buffalo?
I think Mom stayed here.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure
she just went for training and games.
She pretty much flew.
Yeah.
He loves it. Like, the fans are so loyal. Like, even nowadays, LA came back here. Yeah. He definitely still has this loyalty to the Bills. Like,
nice.
They still keep in great contact, ownership. Cool. Yeah. It's a smaller, tight-knit, that's their life, you know?
So he was in the league for 8 years.
Yeah.
Nice.
And at one point, I think towards the end, he signed, at the time, one of the highest DB contracts, but it was like a couple $100,000 a year. But at that time, it's like,
dude,
he's killing it.
Yeah.
He looks
at this time, it's still pretty damn good.
Houses, you know?
It's like when I was pro and then you were pro. Gosh, I missed my calling about a decade later.
Exactly. He's like, dude, if I stayed around another couple of years, But yeah, body tells you otherwise. Yeah. But and so that was kind of the set off.
How old was he when he retired?
He retired in 84 because I wasn't born yet. Okay. I pretty much was born, I think, the year after he retired, 84-ish, and that would probably put him at. He's probably at his
late 30s,
mid to late. Yeah. Mid
Crazy.
to late 30s. Yeah. Maybe not even late. Like, he's more mid.
Do you go back and look?
65 now, 66.
Yeah.
Transition into the working force?
Yeah, he went straight in. He moved out here. They've owned a grooming and pet shop for 30-something years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you
all family, like, it started, had
what's it called?
Aristocrat Pets and Supplies.
You hear that, guys?
And they've kind of moved
Garden Grove?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you know where, like, On the Rocks is, little bar. They used to be in that Bridge Creek zone. There's a little area there. That's where they started, and now they're up a little bit more past, just before Catella.
Oh, yeah.
Like Chapman area. Yeah, Chapman and Valley View right there in that center
cool.
lawns. And
do you ever watch any old footage of your dad's games?
Yeah, for sure. He will, like, sometimes he's got all the cassette. Like, last year or the year before when the Rams came to LA, he gave me his old, like, jersey. It's a practice jersey, but it just says Simpson with a number. Doesn't have any logos, just the color. So but
what was his number?
48.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's and that was kind of always wanted to chase. Obviously, being a professional athlete at any kind of level, and
it
just took weird little routes. But, like, I ended up finding surfing, and that was kind of.
Is any other siblings in a professional athlete or?
No, my brother played at a high level. Went to Fresno State, was a punter there, had a few good years. Actually, played with. David Carr. He was on the same team as David Carr. The Derek
Dallas.
Carr is the one.
Oh,
I think David's out of the league now.
Okay.
But he got drafted. I want to say one of the top picks at the time. But they had a good team.
Derek Carr's
up in Oakland. Yeah. They both were quarterbacks.
Got it.
But he played. So, but he didn't really. The punting things kind of. He went and did a few trouts, and he was pretty good, but, like, those guys last a while.
Such a niche.
It's like you got, if you're in. Obviously, being good.
Yeah, you could be a punter for a fucking long time.
Like
Laces out, man.
Janikowski, dude. Well, he's a kicker. Those guys come and go.
Yeah.
If you're missing, like you see, you're probably gonna get cut. But
who is that one dude? Is it Vinny Testaverde or some dude that's been in the league forever?
Yeah. Oh, Vinatieri. Vinatieri. Yeah, he's like 80.
Still playing. So that's cool.
But the story is, like, I guess going back, it got, obviously California's expensive, and around
Yeah.
like 13, 14, I was like, maybe even younger, but I was hooked on surfing, and my parents were talking about selling the house and moving back to Michigan.
Oh.
And I'm like, no,
Things were a little tough.
way, dude. Yeah, and it was like,
Emancipate me.
staying
I'm
out
living
here.
on the beach.
That's exactly. I was like, I'll find a house. Screw you guys, But I remember that. I don't know how it all panned out, but like I was still young. But yeah.
So you feel like you got that like drive
for sure
to be like a sport.
Yeah, and I just was like hooked.
Extremist. Yeah.
I was just hooked at surfing, and I'm like, I can get good at this. Like I feel like it just was that fun,
Yeah.
So I couldn't go backside. Like for months, like couldn't go backside. I'm like, what the? And then just figured it out. Kalani Rob was kind of one of my favorites at the start, and I tried to surf Goofy Foot for like 2 months.
How funny.
It didn't work out. I was like,
we ran into Kalani on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Coming after you.
So
ruined my career, bro.
So you started surfing contest. Your first sponsor was Counterculture,
and O'Neill.
and then O'Neill. So what was your first like big win as a amateur?
Probably like at around 16, 17, I probably would have been. I had a few like maybe regional or conference wins here and there in the NSSAs.
Yeah, because that was a big event or a big series, right?
For sure, yeah. That was kind of the go-to. Like that's the kind of the USA Prime now. Like the NSSA still runs a really tight group. Like most of the guys do both.
Yeah.
Some of the top amateurs are kind of piddling at doing some of the QSs and juniors. So there's a little divide, and I guess that's kind of my role now in a sense of trying to bring them back in and kind of help nurture, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest win for me, like I never won nationals, bombed out early. I remember I got a 10 in my first round, bombed out.
Yeah.
And that was like the thing, you win nationals, you're getting the
Yeah.
6-figure contract.
Would your dad and mom come to the contest?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, they were always committed, and they were
supportive.
definitely, my dad took them a while to
To
figure it out.
To accept it.
We're talking about your dad who was a professional athlete, and all parents want is what's best for their
For sure.
kids.
And I
And
think
you could have been good at other sports, and he's thinking, shit, like
he
he's
was
athletic.
tripping. He was tripping.
Yeah,
Because
I'm
the
sure
variables in surfing, as we know, are like wave selection.
Yeah.
Obviously, ability sometimes doesn't really matter that much if you don't have picked the right wave or performing, you know? So I think that forever, he's just like, I don't know how you do it, son. I
But
don't know how you do it.
But you don't get recruited to a college through surfing, so you don't get that like extra bonus of, okay, I have a fallback plan, going to college, and you're going to make a boatload of money if you do go to
the pros. Yeah.
We brought this up before, I forget with who, but professional football players, how many professional football players are there, right? How many professional teams?
If you have 30 teams, right? And
30
you got about
teams.
50 per, so
50 per.
1,500.
Yeah. Out of
There's
15 million kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Minimum.
1,500
baseball,
guys.
Yeah.
baseball
So
too.
You're talking 1%.
Yeah.
Baseball
Maybe.
too, right? And like
baseball's
hockey
probably even gnarlier.
Yeah.
and basketball.
They're all the same.
It's a really small
Basketball, you gotta be 6
opportunity.
feet, pretty much.
Yeah, it's a small
Like-
opportunity to be a professional athlete.
At any level,
And
any
even
sport.
surfing too.
Yeah.
It's like, how many freaking
Well,
rippers are there in this
sure.
world?
Yeah.
Right? That can make it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's rad. Like guys like you that have made a name for himself and made
It is,
a
yeah.
decent,
The more I look back on it at the time, you're like, I want more. But then, like, having a few years off and kind of finding a new niche, it's definitely been like a whirlwind. Because if you ask me,
So let's go back.
Yeah,
Let's
sorry,
go back.
sorry.
Yeah.
So you started surfing contest, doing better. What was
I ended up beating like Reynolds or something at Westerns. It was top 3. I
Sweet.
remember 4 or 6-man final, but top 3. And he had like a 10 and a 9 and a 6, and I had like 3 9s or something. I edged him out, I chipped him away in the format, I started learning the format of it, and that was kind of one of my probably bigger amateur wins.
Yeah.
But then I was able to...
Do you remember who else was in the final?
Oh, man.
Because it was at least
Dane.
top
It was
Reynolds.
Dane Reynolds. It was like...
top 4?
Yeah.
Or
Top
4-man heat? I mean...
4-man, yeah.
4-man heat.
It was like maybe Travis Mellum. He ended up winning the Nationals, getting a big deal that same year, I think.
Whatever happened to him?
I think he's a firefighter,
Okay.
or he took a different route.
Yeah.
He died, I think maybe the pressure or whatever, you know. But
I remember that name, but now
Mellum, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was like after you go through nationals, had a shocker, and it was like obviously still felt like I had the ability, and I got on a few great trips with like Surfing Mag.
Yeah.
Was able to go to Indo with Dane and the rest of the crew, Kakoba, Calso, Dustin Cuzone.
All through O'Neill.
O'Neill took care of me and was able to get me on these pieces to like, hey, go to Jeff Flint with Natividad, got a cover there.
Sick. Which
It
cover?
was,
Or what mag?
actually, well, I don't even know if it was a spread, 2-page spread cover.
Yeah.
Only one cover I ever got was
Nice.
Eichner, and pretty much his retirement trip in Nicaragua. We went in like April, and there was like freezing.
Did you stay at Mark and Dave's?
Yeah.
We didn't actually, but
Yeah.
should have.
Mark and Dave's our sponsor.
Down there, yeah. This was a while. Oh yeah, they were.
They've been there for a while.
Yeah. But going back, it's like I had these.
So let's talk about that milestone. The first
First
magazine or photo that was published, which
Probably a double grab air, dude. I used to do the double grab. So
for counterculture or for O'Neill.
I don't know if I ever
remember?
got some counterculture editorial, but I do know as I started riding for O'Neill and the connection with Flame at Creek, I used to surf Creek a ton.
You had to.
It was like
you
the
had
studio.
To. That was the
right?
That was
and
a highlight.
Flame took care of me. He was at Surfing Mag. I busted my butt. I went down there pretty much every morning. Like come over the hill.
Those guys
I'd do my double grab reverse. I try to get him. I got a little spread, and I started to get some love, and that was obviously another confidence booster.
Yeah.
Being 17, 18, that was like at that time.
That was
the only way you got like you were in the dude. You actually read the rankings and you read the results and you saw who was in the magazine and who was coming up.
But that was as much as important as getting a contest result is getting that photo in the mag or getting that content to your sponsor.
And even now, like, there's maybe 5-10 free surfers that make money.
Yeah.
Back then, you can do it. You know,
there was a lot more money. The industry and economy was.
Well, they were doing trips, and there was more like, hey, we're gonna go.
There's magazines.
There's magazines. We're running actual pictures now on the website.
Yeah.
You know?
And the tour guys were really hard to get content from because they were so focused on the tour. So when the magazine's around, there was definitely a lot more lifestyle.
The webcast was probably just starting to come around.
Yeah.
Like, and going that route.
Yeah.
But ultimately, that was how you got a contract. That was your ready.
So going back, your surfing contest wasn't really winning any big ones.
I didn't win that. Yeah, I want to feel like I was like. I would say I won a few overall like divisional rankings at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And one Westerns, which is regional, just West Coast.
Yeah.
And then nationals, like I said, I had a couple good heats and then a shocker.
So backtracking a little bit, growing up or beginning surfing stages, do you remember? Did you take a surf trip anywhere?
Where was your first overseas or
I'd probably say obviously Hawaii.
Okay.
Garth really was like, you're going to Hawaii.
Did you ever go on a surf trip before you got sponsored?
No.
No?
Maybe Trestles.
Yeah.
That was like going to Indo. Just getting T-boned at Trestles. Thought it was like surfing, big Trestles was like surfing Sunset or something.
Yeah.
Now you go down there and you're like, dude, this thing's Charmin tissue. Can I get a pushback or something on this thing?
I'm going through the
big
lip.
old belly, dude. I'm bottom turning going out the back. I'm like, where is this thing? No, but Trestles was like, that's where my surfing evolved. Like, Willie had the condo, and we would go camp out, do a weekend, surf all day. I got freckles, dude. I'd just be black because I'm freckled out, surf all day.
How important is that for like a young kid that lives in Huntington or maybe Oceanside, wherever you're at, to just break out of your normal surf zone and going down? Like I surfed Newport because I was sponsored by Quicksilver, and they'd do clinics and workouts. Yeah. And I'd be like, whoa, look at the waves down here. This is totally different. This is awesome.
Change your surfing. Yeah. But that's, I guess, what we're trying to do is diversify your package. You know? How do I could surf Huntington. But you go to Newport. You go to Trestles. I always felt Trestles was good practice for me because out here you're like rushing into two turns. You got to kind of, Usually, like sometimes you got to jam them in quick.
And a lot of
Can be
downtime
closed
if
out.
you're going to the reform.
Exactly.
And,
Where trestles is that consistent, you're kind of
work on your style, your
form,
flow.
technique.
Yeah.
So and then you go over to Hawaii and you get like 5 closeouts and you're like, that sucked. But you come home and you feel invincible.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I could surf
Let's
anything.
go back to you being a Grom, and we were kind of talking about
Still
it
a
earlier.
Grom, dude.
You're still a Grom.
We all-
back
we
on
all-
tour.
Compared to us.
Going back on tour, dude.
Yeah, you hear that? You heard that first at the Late Night Jockey podcast.
So earlier we were talking about localism a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So you being from Garden Grove, so you and Willie would start coming to Huntington. So you start off Seal Beach, then
Yeah, well,
Started
so like, yeah,
migrating.
and that was kind of cool because Willie knew of most of the crew, like
Yeah.
the crew come around.
yeah,
So yeah, it was definitely new for me, but I always felt like I wasn't trying to ride the sets anyways. I was kind of inside and
Be
just
respectful
running
to
around.
his
Yeah,
elders.
and it's just like it was a little more so how it was then, right?
Yeah.
Like it's changed some, and I think it's partly my fault. I got these Groms out there and I'm pushing them in.
yeah.
And everyone's like, I want to go too. And now they're all off the back. So you can blame it on me, whatever. We got to get champions though, right?
Yeah, push it.
But I do have a run in. I remember Jerry Mulford. I wasn't actually Grom, but I was a teenager at this time,
Yeah.
full of it. And it was Southside Bowl. He burned me. I was too deep probably anyways, but I shot my board out. Probably got closer than... It's like, you see that
But in
now
the
and you
heat-
want to go punch the guy.
in the,
Yeah.
in the
You're
heat
like,
of the
"Oh."
moment,
Yeah,
you
you're
think
like-
that's.
I'm like, dude, you
I'm
just
not gonna
think
hurt you.
about- Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was the fact of the matter, like, it was in the wrong position anyways, probably. But he came out and he's a big dude. And I'm
He's
like,
a big
oh,
dude.
Fook, what I just get myself into. And I just said, right, he kind of lit me up and I was like, dude, won't ever happen again. You know?
Sorry, bro.
Pretty much like, yeah, that was dumb. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not, you know.
We've seen him.
We've all done that.
We've
Yeah,
seen
I've
him
been there.
regulate a couple times.
And hey, sometimes that's how it's got to be,
Yeah.
you know? And I was like, hey, it changed me. It changed my perception of like how things are. You don't do that stuff,
Yeah.
you know? It was like, dude, if my board hits them or hits anybody,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
you
You'd be so
you
bummed.
have kids or whatever, like
Yeah.
you see that go down and you try to teach the kids now, like, hey, if someone burns you, whatever, like
Yeah.
go say something. You can talk about it, but
Yeah.
don't, you know.
It's not worth getting involved.
Yeah,
It's a
I see
wave.
kids flaring up like, dude, you better watch it. You know, like,
Yeah.
why? These guys have been out here for 30 more years than you,
It's-
you know, or more.
Yeah, and
So-
it was a little different when we were Groms compared to now.
But going
Yeah.
around the
You get-
world,
Pushed around back
Yeah.
then.
oh,
Yeah, a little touched up.
yeah,
Yeah.
a little shiner.
Yeah.
What happened, Dad, Mommy? Oh, I don't know.
yeah, it was a
My
little
board
hush-hush.
hit me.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, do you remember like the first ad you had in the magazine? Was it an O'Neill ad or like another
Yeah.
sponsor?
It was probably O'Neill. They did the run because it was. I don't know if they still run it that same way, but clothing and wetsuits are separate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd spend a ton of time up north, do like Santa Cruz trips, do a few days up there, do wetsuit shoots, surf the lane, which was
Did
great.
you ride
man.
for both?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was like a it was, yeah, I think they still do it like that, but kind of the
It's
clothing,
separate,
it's
yeah.
a little bit separate, but
Yeah.
they're together,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, so, and I remember we did these ones. I saw one recently, someone showed me about, they were like holding it. It's kind of what the animated style, what they're doing now again, Crane and those guys, but like I had a dagger in my hand and like doing a little double grab, like
All tough guy.
all toughed out,
Armored
I'm a
out.
scrawny, freckly kid. But that was probably around my first ad.
Nice.
And then at that time, I had like a Jadson Andre board, dude. I had O'Neill, I had
You
was it a
had the
Chad?
NASCAR
I had
billboard?
NASCAR rally
all,
car.
like, dude, I had 12. People used to give me crap. They're like counting like, how much money you make? Like, cause I'd have 12 stickers, dude.
So
And
sick.
Futures I've had.
Why wouldn't you?
Sugar-
Yeah.
Sugar Shack.
Dude, it was
just
like
those-
the best days of
Yeah.
my life. Like stickers on your
So
board.
did you
was
go
cool.
to Huntington Beach High School?
So started 2 years at Pacifica High,
Okay.
then transferred to 2 years at Huntington,
Got it.
and that was like the best thing ever.
Yeah.
What,
You just
what
yeah.
what boards were you riding? Timmy Patterson's
Yeah,
back
so
then?
you're right. I started and I was riding Timmy's and like, even nowadays I'm like, dude, I want to. Like, obviously he's went kind of ebbs and flows with his life and stuff, but man, he's always been the master craftsman. You know? And I remember one time I went there.
His boards, right?
Italo's, yeah. A few guys are. Here and there. Yeah.
Handful.
And busted me out one right in front of me. Best 6.0 of my life. I'm like, oh my God. And then sometimes you'd order a 6.0 and you get a 5.9. Or you'd order and it was, they were good boards.
Yeah.
But like, as I got better and I was starting to travel, and not that his dude, I look at it now and I'm like,
you're probably blazing through boards
and
right.
Kind of like, I need a consistent batch of whatever it was. And I think I went from Timmy, and then I rode Hamish Graham, which is labeled Super Sticks, which is pretty much like, they're shaping like right next to each other.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just like, all right. And then that's actually kind of like the few years leading it, like through the QS, had some results, but definitely you get lost on there, you know? And I was like going through equipment, like my first year in Merriweather, I remember being in Australia, I had a Solomon board and a...
Solomon?
Yeah.
Like epoxy style board?
Yeah.
Or? Okay.
Well, you know the rim of the blue things?
Yeah.
HIC.
Yeah.
I had like just a plethora of crap.
Yeah.
Like not saying that like HIC's bad. I've ridden them over in Hawaii, but like at the time, like first year on tour, I was just like boards, like
trying to figure out.
Equipment was just way wrong.
All the ways. Let's backtrack.
We're not tracking,
dude.
So you go back. High school, you went to Huntington Beach HB. Verdone. Local legend. So you started surfing for Huntington Beach High School. That got you better into surfing.
For sure.
Then you graduated. You're already riding for O'Neill. Then, like, when you're at Huntington Beach High School, is that when you started realizing, well, I'm pretty fucking good. I'm gonna...
Yeah, like senior year... And he did a great job. Like, he would always, Coach Verdone would always kind of keep you in your place. You know?
He'd always...
So there was never... And that's the exact... Like, it was great.
Yeah.
Because at the time, you're like, dude, F this guy. Like, fuck, I'm out of here. Like, I'm going, you know?
Stay in school, keep your grades up, do this, do that.
You look back now, and I spend a lot more time with him now. And I'm like, gosh, he's very knowledgeable. You miss him.
Yeah.
You know? And I watch him now with kids, and the kids are just like, oh my gosh, I gotta see this guy again. Coach, I'm here, I gotta go. Like, they're just trying to avoid him like the plague, you know? And it's like, he's good. He's good people.
Yeah. He's seen so many surfers come through the surf or high school surf program.
Yeah.
And only a handful of
us actually
made it to pro. So
he
tells everyone, stay in school, get good grades, stay in school, get good grades.
I watch him tell he's like, you have a better chance writing him a check than actually being a pro surfer. You know, you could be a head of some company,
which you need that, like, you know,
you need reality checks.
Yeah. And I think that's nowadays. It's like a lot of kids are homeschooling. So, hey, there's probably more good surfers now, obviously, than there was.
Yeah.
But there's still a balance, you know.
For sure.
And so I can't thank him enough for kind of keeping me on that path.
Yeah.
And ultimately pushing me. Like, hey, maybe you do have what it is, you know. And he wouldn't tell a lot of people that, but he gave me the kind of runway.
He told me.
Yeah.
When I think I'm maybe 10 years older than you.
Yeah. I'm 34.
Yeah. So I remember, I mean, when I was in my prime, I was traveling a lot, but you were 14, Grom, like, and you'd show up, and Verdone would be like, I think he's the next like real deal.
Yeah.
Because you know,
Huntington.
Yeah. And, you know, there's gaps and there's different surfers that come through, you know, every few years. And that was kind of keep an eye on this guy.
And it was just like, I felt, it gave you that added little love. And he didn't, and it wasn't like that where he was pushing me over anybody else.
Right.
No.
But he definitely was like, hey, gave me a pat. Like, dude, he had the connections. He met, like, I remember one day he had Taj come down.
Is he the reason why you started riding for Hurley? Or... was that after?
Not really. That's after.
Okay.
I started with Hurley probably when I was 19.
Okay.
So I probably had 4 or 5 years with O'Neill.
Okay.
Maybe even more. Like just turned 20 maybe. And that I guess we'll go into that. But yeah, so from there I had the runway. O'Neill was backing me. You know, they were giving me some money, not a ton of money, but enough to travel. Had some income coming in. Thought I was killing it. made the round of 32 I couldn't remember, I made like 6 to 8 heats at the time at US Open, and I was probably 18 or 19, and I felt like I made so many heats, and I was only in the round of 32.
Yeah. That's when you're like, I just need a better seating.
And I had I
need a better seating next year.
Had a party at like the Hyatt or something, the Hilton, and like all the boys made like a grand, just drinking, celebrating, like so sick. I'm like, I look back.
You did better than Jay though.
I think I got.
You made it a hell of a lot farther than Jay ever did.
I think I got a 25th in Huntington. my best.
Was there a party for it?
No. I was so bummed.
Hey, losing's learning, right?
I think I lost a Ren and Roca.
Dude,
oh my god!
Gnarly competitors back then.
And I don't even know. I just remember him.
Yeah.
Like, and there was somebody else, and the boys were pumping.
Had his leash tied around his neck, not even his leg. He's just.
He caught these mid. It was like 8 to 10 foot like face set south roping.
Guillermo.
And he was catching the little like
chip
middle
shots.
Breaks that let you do the cutbacks all the way to the inside. And I just remember like being so bummed.
You're like, I live here.
Yeah.
What are you disrespecting me for?
The tour. Dude, there's a lot of. It's the
we're gonna
QS. So I got lost there for a few years. Took me about. Like the 18, 19 range, I didn't do like whole tour. It was more
selective
picked
events.
a couple, some juniors. You lose a lot.
Yeah.
And that was like, oh my gosh, this is gnarly.
So
were
you starting to travel the world and like you're picking certain contests to try to make it on the world
and
tour,
and
right?
even back then it wasn't as like now it's pretty hard because you got to be top. You got to be top like 70, not counting the CT guys, to get in these majors, like the 6,000s and 10,000s. So you almost have to do a year
to just get enough points,
leading up with 1,000s and 3,000s to get into those. You know, so there's the random freak that'll blaze through, and then he gets a mid-year cut and flares like. It's rare.
Yeah.
Like even Griff, like he qualified when he was 18 or 19, but he did a year or two of like
Canoa
learning.
quick.
Canoa blazed through.
Yeah.
And like Philippe, obviously.
Yeah.
There's been a few freaks, you know, but a lot of the guys 3 to 4 years, like 2 to 4 years.
So how many years did you spend on the grind of the WQS?
I'd probably say like 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you
I qualified when I was like 23 or 24.
it's kind of like the perfect age, though. Huh?
Yeah, I feel like now, like, dude, it's funny because at the time, you think you know everything.
Old. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, dude, you're almost done. Like, I thought I was gonna I was over it. I was close to like, all right, let's give it another year.
Yeah.
Got close one year, had a shocker the next. Then I was close again. Then I got the U.S. Open win, which was like, all right, you're nearly there.
What year was that?
09.
09, okay.
Yeah. And that was kind of like, so I did a lot of events and I got some good mixed results.
Were you already on tour then?
No.
Okay.
That year pretty much catapulted me
was a huge
to make it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I had a few results and I went from there to like maybe Brazil or South Africa and backed it up with like a 5th. And I think I finished like 5th or 6th that year on the QS. So it was pretty well in, like, going into the back half, even in Hawaii. I don't even think I'm not sure if I got a result. I had some good results, like, through the years over at, like, Haleiwa and Sunset here and there, but leading up, it was like I had some good results in Brazil, a couple thirds.
But just for the listeners, like, the QS is a qualifying tour of 30 to 40 events. Yeah. And they range from a 1 to 6. To 6.
Yeah.
And those are based on point breaks. So to qualify from QS to CT, you need an average score in 8 events of at least 1,000, 1,500 points per event.
That was like 7 or 8. So, now they do 5, I think.
So you got to have a really consistent year of...
You got to make finals almost.
Well, it depends on the event because winning a 2 or 3 star is like getting 25th in a 6 star.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to place really high.
How many WQS contests are there?
Between 30 and 40, but there's only maybe 4 or 5 of the
6,000,
6,000s, and there's a ton of the lower ones. So
Yeah.
you really have to perform in those like couple of
Even when I was doing it, it was
high
6,000s. There were some 5s, and there was even there was 4s, 3s. What obviously ones, unless you won one of the big ones, could carry it over and count. But realistically,
How was that when you first started venturing out into the big world?
it was obviously awesome, but
Yeah.
wasn't as nearly as focused and ready as needed to be.
What was your first big trip out of the States?
first big trip? Like contest wise?
Like surf
contest,
trip
surf
wise?
trip, photo man.
I know you went to Hawaii.
We did a trip with like Evan Slater and Surfing Mag. We drove a bunch of Xteras from here to Cabo, which was pretty fun.
That's cool.
And then drove back. It was kind of
Yeah.
got pulled over, and
When's the...
but that was like 18ish,
Okay.
like towards the end, 17, 18. That was kind of the same group, like the NSSA, kind of up and coming, maybe the next guys, you know.
Mental-wise was
Mental
starting
wise-
to heat up. then,
Mental
right?
wise is I did a trip, and that's what I was saying. Like after that year, after the final year at Nationals 18, pretty much took like a few of the top crew, and we went to Mental wise, which was sick. We didn't really score, but it was still
Did you
good.
have like a couple of like traveling partners? You're like might have different sponsors, or maybe the same sponsor where you're like, dude, this is the crew I like to like travel with, which
sure.
is hugely important to
Yeah.
like feel comfortable and have a good
growing
time.
up, like or going through that. And now I look back, like Sean Ward
Yeah.
was a big travel partner.
He rode for O'Neill too, right?
He at the time
He was quickie, I think.
he was quick.
Oh.
Did a little stint at No Fear at the end. That was, and then who else? Nathaniel Curran.
Yeah.
There was a little group of us that kind of, and I think it, you kind of traveled in packs. Obviously, it's expensive, so you bunk up at a place, and then and so the first few years, man, I just like whether it was equipment, obviously learning the brakes.
Yeah.
It was it had some bright moments, had some bad moments. It was a lot of learning.
So let's talk about that first Mentawai trip. What was it? An O'Neill trip?
It was Surfing Mag.
Oh, nice.
Surfing Mag. Evan Slater was on it. It was. Thank you. It was Dane. It was Kiko Bacalso. Who else? Travis Mellum. Boat trip. Ah, dude.
Pelagic.
It might have been
Indies.
like an Indies, maybe. I've done a few on the Indy. I did an Indies. I did the Midas once. I think I did the Pelagic once. I've had like 5 or 6 trips out there, but early days.
Yeah.
I'm not 100%, but I want to say it might have been an Indies.
Yeah. Nice.
But dude, it was we didn't score crazy good waves, but
Yeah.
the level, obviously Dane at the time was kind of the benchmark of and it was like pushed all of us, and I think that was kind of like,
what was your favorite wave over there?
I've had some great sessions at HTs.
Okay.
Wasn't like the most rippable wave,
Yeah.
but
You've been there
it's
5 times, you
yeah,
said?
about that.
Yeah.
Got the trips like after I got some fun waves at Greenbush.
Nice.
Macaronis is probably, I don't know how they haven't had a wave there.
It's pretty much the best contest. Our best, sorry, contest.
Wait, it's
best
like
wave
a
out there.
mini Chopu
Yeah.
into
I've been.
Restaurants.
or even like more playful.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
I've been there.
Yeah.
So good.
Like it's like a backside or front side. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's almost like not a like backside. You can go vert, invert. Like front side, you can go vert and blow that. Like dude, it's almost fair either which way.
Yeah.
I've been there
Multiple times.
many times.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody on the boat, I don't care if you're regular foot or goofy. If you guys just want to sit in macaronis the entire
It's
time,
fine.
I'll sit there the whole
Yeah.
time.
There's nowhere else that's like that.
No,
Yeah.
it's perfect.
I mean, the Roxy's wave a little right.
Yeah.
Super
It's
fun.
kind of
Yeah.
like
But it doesn't get as big.
Yeah,
It doesn't get as
tall, and but it's playful and
really
rippable.
rippable.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you rate our trip? Like a 5 or 6 when we went, as far as like quality of waves and
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me,
Yeah.
it was a fucking 10.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That still tilt people like ask me like, "What's the ultimate trip?" And I'm like, "Dude,
There isn't.
you can go there. You
There's
can
too
go
many
there.
to choose.
Yeah, but like if you get 6 of your best bros and you want to go surf and cruise on a boat and drink beers
Yeah.
and surf killer waves, pull up like
Oil glassy.
it's pretty damn sick.
Yeah,
there's no
still no. Yeah.
I hope one day we get to go there one more time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least one more time.
Yeah. before you're a senior citizen, which is far in a couple of years. Maybe get a
Why don't
senior
you
citizen.
shut up?
Senior citizen
Don't be
discount.
talking about that.
What age were you when we did our Costa Rica trip with? I think me, you,
Nichols,
Tom Carey.
I was probably
16?
I was
Pretty
still
young.
O'Neill.
You're O'Neill.
Yeah, I might have been right around there, like 17.
17?
17, yeah.
Were
That trip was funny, dude.
you
You remember
blowing?
that?
You're a grom.
You remember that trip?
All the fire ants and everything.
Dude.
Were you taking the heat every
so
day?
I'm an
No.
old school.
Marshall
I
was
got,
getting all
like-
pissed.
Not even.
I got blank.
I just remember being like the
I'll
old
tell you guys later.
old school surfer, and this is
Tom Carey's pissing on you. Remember we were sleeping.
Oh gosh,
and he
Wait,
just-
somebody peed on you, Lar?
dude, Tom Carey is just
And it wasn't me?
He's
That's normal,
He's
though.
just as bad as you, sleepwalking, drunk,
I do
pissed.
that.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
But I remember surfing one session and
We love you, Tommy.
and this guy was the aerialist of the next generation.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to get out above the lip and just pull a standard. And this guy's spinning in the air like no other. And we did a air contest. We're like, okay, we're not going in until. And I think I won on just a straight air, but it was really bad surf. It was my claim to fame.
Hooky Owl.
Did he? Did he
Yeah.
Hunky Owl.
Hooky Owl, Niagara. Dude, we gotta go back there.
Right?
I gotta get out of Huntington, dude.
Dude,
Everyone tells me
our
that.
new
I'm
sponsor,
Nicaragua.
Mark
Is it?
and Dave's.
like, it's been going off down there.
It's been going
Everyone's
off.
posting pictures. Of
Talking
standard
about
kids.
poolside with the beers after getting barreled for like 4 hours.
That's been my trip. Once a year, HSS. We've won the Surf Shop Challenge.
Oakley, right?
We've
Yeah,
gone
yeah,
down
yeah.
there like 3 years in a row, but last 2 years have been in Colorado.
Yeah.
1 year was at Lowers, which is pretty cool too.
Yeah.
But that trip's fun.
Yeah.
Real fun.
We love
And it's
it
easy.
down there.
Okay, so going back to
QS.
QS.
Qualities. Oh,
So you
man, the
so
key
you
grind.
won you won U.S. Open 2000 the
09.
Hurley Pro,
Hurley
right?
Pro, yeah. Hurley Nike. It was like a collab.
Okay.
Yeah.
2009.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that week. Like, let's talk about
Well, yeah.
The waves-
so
were the
so
waves
at
good?
that time, I got my act together.
Okay.
At this point, I started riding for Hurley at about 19, 20 years old.
Okay.
Pat O'Connell just got the job, marketing manager. I think I was the first guy he signed.
Really?
There would have been like
Nice job,
had a
Pato.
few guys on the roster at the time. It was like Rob, Joel Centeo,
But they needed a
Dan Malloy may have still been there.
Yeah.
I think Yaden Nickel just got picked up, as well as maybe Ace.
Okay.
So those are kind of the core. I might be missing somebody that
But
slapped me.
Hurley being in Costa Mesa, Newport.
Yeah, it was the local. It was the brand. Obviously, like at the initial thing, it was kind of like that was a Blink 182 band.
Yeah.
Like at first, I'm like. And they started to get a lot more surf, obviously.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the music thing. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I like the core thing with O'Neill and
Yeah.
the surf.
Smart on Bob's behalf right there.
Yeah.
Coattailing like that.
Oh, it
That
And he
music push.
launched. I mean, that I used to work at Huntington Surf and Sport, as you know.
Yeah.
And when Hurley was transitioning from Billabong, and Joe Mack and we're all good friends, and I remember seeing all the advertising coming out way before the brand even launched anything.
Yeah.
It was, 999.
Nine.
Like, what the fuck is
It's
999?
Yeah.
Is that upside down, like, cross?
Anarchy,
What is
yeah.
this? What is this? What is this?
That's
Yeah.
the year they launched.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then
But it was it's catchy. Of like
super catchy.
Yeah.
And then I think Benji Weatherly probably turned Bob, turned Blink onto Hurley.
Yeah.
And when they played on MTV for one of the
Just like and they had
MTV
their gear
awards,
on.
yeah,
I mean, they
And
were
it's
the
fun.
it was
number
like the
one-
next day, like,
They
hey,
were-
Hurley is a brand, it's
Yeah.
here.
But Blink 182 was like
They were
the
just
number one brand in
ginormous,
every surf movie.
Yeah.
Along with handful.
Yeah,
of
and
other
so
punk
for
bands, but-
like it's just
So
from
Pat-
there I found and it was kind of like I told you earlier, O'Neill had all these guys. Garth did a great job, like huge mentor.
When did you
for
start
me.
working for HSS? Surfing for HSS?
Before that,
Okay.
I was probably 17, 16.
When you I kind of remember what year was that?
I actually rode for Jax.
Oh, you rode for
I
Jax?
rode for Jax.
You did.
I did.
Yeah.
Rode for Jax probably like 16, 17, and then senior year, Verdone goes, hey,
come over here.
we want you, this is our
I
core,
think
this is our core
took
shop.
my salary, surf checks,
Yeah.
and they gave it to you. Oh, wait, no, that was Tom Curran. they gave it to
Tom and
Curran.
Lisa.
Yeah.
Tom and Lisa came in.
Yeah. Never mind.
But he's like, hey, I want you to ride. This is the local core shop. This is where our family, this is where our community is. And I met AP. Obviously, Taylor was a few years younger, and Trevor as well.
Yeah.
But just that core values and family.
Right,
And their tightness with Verdone and the surf.
Yeah.
it was
team.
like they were the sponsor of the team.
HSS
This is
sponsored
Huntington,
the team, yeah.
And not like
And you're the
Jack-
team captain, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of like, all right.
Yeah.
It all makes sense.
And I think at the time, and they still do, Jack sponsors Edison High School, so
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that, the relationship there has been great.
Yeah.
Obviously, HSS does a great job. I spend a lot of time in there just wandering around, checking boards, checking wetsuits. Like, I don't know. That stuff, like, for me, it doesn't get old.
Yeah.
I can feel any style board. Like,
So, what was the first surf shop you ever walked into? Do you remember?
it was probably in flight.
Okay.
Yeah,
being from where you lived,
spent a
that was
lot of
like
time in
straight
Seal.
down.
Yeah.
We'd go there and I'd frolic in there. And
They have always had a really
They had a
good
huge place at the time.
boards,
Yeah.
like
They used to have
collection.
the downstairs and upstairs.
Yeah.
And it was littered.
Back then, in-flight was like
Yeah.
banging.
Yeah.
They're huge in the snowboards.
They were. Now
Yeah.
they're just getting back into it. But
Yeah.
yeah, they helped do the H2O sponsor.
Yeah.
Which was a really cool event for those that snowboard and surf.
Yeah, so that
I
was
think
kind of
Tridecker took that
I was
win.
just one of those grind, like, I guess back in the, like, and they still do. I know a lot of the grounds they hang out at. Obviously, HSS has the, Java Point, and it's a fun hangout.
Yeah.
There's stuff to look at. Hopefully people are buying crap, you
Yeah.
know, but it's fun. They got great people, knowledgeable.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of, like, when you're selling product or you're selling boards. You want someone in there, if you don't really know,
Yeah.
you want to talk to someone like, hey, will this work for me? Guys will get a little too small or whatever, like not enough foam.
Yeah.
And I don't know, as you get older, I feel like you need a little bit more.
Yeah.
And those guys are knowledgeable. Reader, all those guys there,
Yeah.
they know what they're doing. Pesh.
And that's what we do on our show, is remind people how important surf shops are to the community, to the history, to the heritage.
But these
Yeah.
are people that have been in the industry and served and have the most knowledge, and that's what they're there for. You know, like
Well, for sure, they've sacrificed a lot to give back.
Yeah.
And now it's like we still have to keep it going.
Yeah.
We have to go there. People log online. I just still feel like it's just not like you meet and greet somebody there. It could change your life.
Oh, yeah.
It could change your mindset on boards or
Yeah.
clothing. Size, like I don't know about sizing, but my size has always changed, or from the fit.
Yeah.
There's the drive, there's all this different fit. So I feel like you gotta try it on. But ultimately, when you go into a core shop like that has the values and really taking care of the customer, it's like it's a no-brainer. Then you're obviously like there's just that attraction there.
There's a connection between
Connection,
like,
that's the word, not attraction.
But
That's
you're
for somewhere
attracted.
else.
Connection.
That's for somewhere else.
All right, let's connect about U.S. Open
That's
2009. Take us back.
Dude,
So
it's a whirlwind, as they all say.
So were the waves good that week?
The waves were bombing.
Wait,
That was
that's
the
right.
big year.
That was the big year?
Started like decent size, and then a few days were just ginormous, and we used the jet skis.
Were you seated high, or did you have to start?
I want to say at that point I had like a pretty decent seat. Maybe
Okay.
not the top, but like maybe the second round, like the second.
First main.
Yeah.
First round main.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember first few heats were pretty good, like put in a good performance.
Were those 4-man heats?
Yes.
Okay.
After you make like 2, I think you're in kind of the 3-man. 3-man got through. That's when it got big. They started using the jet skis. We were pretty much 1 or 2 chances, paddling out of Tower 7, get 1 or 2 chances. They'd whip you back down and around, try to get another few chances.
Shit, I don't remember
It was pretty
people
solid.
using
Yeah.
jet skis that much, right?
Oh.
There was a year,
Which is so smart because you want to see guys get opportunity, not
Yeah,
battle
not
for
get
a half
pounded
hour.
on.
It
the
did,
inside.
dude. It was a great job.
Yeah.
And it made it very like when you were down there, it was entertainment. You guys were getting rocked on the ski. I remember Andy had like a man-on-man heat. I ended up sneaking through on with Wilco. We had a really close heat. I got a wave at the end, did like a speed snap and a big float. And I needed like a 7 something. I got like an 8:07 or something. And that was kind of the turner from what I remember. Like, dude, you
There's
lose
always that one wave,
you
that
lose,
one
like,
heat.
It was a close heat, and like all of a sudden,
Against
the
Wilco?
floodgates were open. Yeah,
Is that
and
quarters?
was probably like it was man on man. It might have been round 5, like round of 16 or something. And one of those rounds too was still big, and Andy had needed a score. He's on the back of the ski, and Kaihua was driving. And Kaihua was driving, not a lot of time left, and it was freaking 8-foot whitewashes for like all you can see.
You
There's
pretty much got to
much
wait
you
it
can
out.
do.
Yeah.
And Andy was screaming, "Go, motherfucker, let's go!" You know, didn't have much time left and didn't need a big score. Ended up, Kaihua pressed it, launched up. It wasn't his fault, but launched. Andy flew off, hit the sled, and broke his fin out of his board. I think he even had a glass on too at the time.
No!
And it was just
The stars were aligning for Simpo.
Yeah.
So were you in a heat against?
No, it wasn't my heat, but I just remember that he was actually opposite side, and so as that went that day,
You're always visualizing
that
who you're
day
going to
passed,
match up with.
and I ended up going like, I think I beat Eric Geiselman, and then it was like maybe Nathaniel Curran, and he was the year before he had won.
Okay.
And I actually made the semis that year, the previous year. So then I ended up going in the semi or the quarter. I beat CJ.
How good?
CJ in the quarter. CJ was either the quarter or the semi, and then I'm trying to think because the next year I ended up getting Slater, but that year I met Mick in the final. And it was still, it was high tide.
So wait. You surfed against Slater in 2009?
10.
Oh, 10.
Next
Okay.
year.
Okay. Well, let's talk about 2009.
Yeah.
So you and McFanning in the final.
final.
Nice.
Got a quick start. It was coming high tide. It dropped a bunch. It was kind of reformed, like left, kind of slopier, little bit of chop, but like the rights were against the grain, probably head high-ish.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go back to the quarters, right? So you're like in the quarters. You're like, fuck. I'm in the quarters, right? Your parents are there.
Everyone. They were
Everyone's there
to the pier.
Because quarters, semis, finals it's the last
right
day.
there.
It's the last day.
It's the last day. It's Sunday.
It's a
Like-
final day.
Yeah.
You know, I have never obviously surfed in a contest like that. Neither has Jay.
Whoa. Dude.
No, but
check that
well,
out.
I mean, dude,
Fourth
like,
place over there.
how gnarly is that? Like anticipation and like anxiety.
Yeah.
And you're like,
well, I guess being close to home was a little more. Frick, if I lose, I don't gotta fly 16 hours across the globe to get home, you know? So it was a little more like you're fired up because obviously your parents, your family, your
do you remember
friends.
what boards you were riding then?
I was riding Super Sticks.
Okay.
Yeah, Hamish Graham. Like 5'11" or 6'0". The one that year I ended up qualifying for the Trestles CT. They used to do Boost Mobile Pro out there.
Yeah.
And it was like 10 feet, dude. And I was riding a 6'2" pintail. And we were using the skis. It was at the same time, and I ended up. It was a stacked draw. It was like Julian maybe and Owen and somebody else, and I ended up getting that. So my rhythm was I was just full of it.
Yeah.
You know.
So quarters.
Like,
do you remember
on.
who you had in quarters?
That's the one. I'm a little shaky right now. I want to say it was Nathaniel.
Okay.
And then
Beat
CJ,
him.
and then
Nathaniel, then
Mick.
CJ.
Yep.
I know I beat Eric, but I thought that was. I don't remember sort of if it's that many male.
Who cares?
Yeah,
Let's talk about the final.
But
Then
then-
let's talk about quarters.
But
so
yeah,
much.
then the quarter, the
Who cares?
semis was a close one because it was like back and forth with CJ. He tried a huge air, fell, almost had a crazy little barrel into the pier.
Yeah.
He got a 10 like the heat before doing that. You know,
Whoa.
Houdini like hovered one and snuck out.
Dude,
the
those
front.
hobbits could find it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. So I kind of played smart, shadowed, and like got a few. I had like a 6 or a 7, maybe a couple 6s against the grain rights. And then
And Mick was
prime time. He might have been the champ.
Yeah, I was
I
just
think
gonna
he was
say.
like 9, right around there. He might have won the title. He won he ended up the U.S. Open that year was $100,000. He won like a month later. Bob made trestles $105,000, and Mick won that. So he was all kind of like fired up, you know.
So you made it through the quarters. You made it through the semis. You're going into the final.
I got Mick in the final.
You got Mick in the final.
I mean, dude, he's my hero. At
Yeah,
time.
White Lightning.
It's like, dude, you're just. He was.
Well, you guys, I mean,
he's
similar approaches, super fast surfers. I mean, you're trying to pull like this opponent's strengths or weaknesses and stuff, and like this guy has none. Yeah, you know, and yours is I'm a local, but like. Is that really going to help?
Well, I just was like, dude, yeah.
But he's on the world fucking stage.
Oh, yeah, he's
Mick fucking Fanning, who is world champ maybe at the time.
I was kind of gawking out, but I'm like, dude, I got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I'm at home.
The underdog.
Shit's going right.
Yeah.
It's going
the
right.
The hometown hero.
I'm running out, slapping high fives, like thousands of people. Like, dude, it was just surreal where you're running. I could run up the beach. I'm knee deep and I can barely get down the beach to paddle out because there's
people
like
are
no
like
sand
mobbing on you too.
Like, fine, I'm just jumping in the water. I got to get away. You know, I got to clear my mind. But there's a little bit of current. So I'm like, I got to get down there a little. I want to start down and kind of work across.
Yeah.
And I remember I started good. Like I jumped out. I knew that the tide was coming in. You know when it fills up, the summertime.
It's easy to get past the crumble. You want to sit in a little bit.
So do you remember your first wave?
My first wave, I want to say I went left and got like a 6.83 or something. I still have the heat sheet.
Yes.
But
I need a picture.
I want to say I got a left, kind of weaved around, like decent first turn, weaved up and over the woods, turned a little early, came back right, hit the whitewash. It was like in the 6 range.
Yeah.
Then I got a little against the grain right, and it like just had that little roll and did like 3 or 4 cars and didn't even really get a finish. It almost just like rolled up onto the sand. And it got like a 7.17.
So,
and I don't think at this time Mick had much yet.
Yeah. So you're just like,
I'm kind of on. Yeah. I'm just like, all right, the rhythm, everything's going, tide's coming in. He's just sitting there.
This is the biggest contest of your life. Right?
And then he goes like 6.5 maybe, like a wrap to like a thinner. And I'm like, all right. He still needs like an upper 7.
So we kind of just like, wait a minute, man. I'm gonna win this thing, but
now it's getting a little okay. And then all of a sudden the set comes right, and I was able to I got this against the grain right, and it was a bigger wave. And I'm looking back, like the surfing, I came off the bottom, kind of cracked it late, came up, and it was a section like did a little check, went over it, and did like a pop air reverse. Wasn't huge, but I think I ended up getting like a 9.07 or a 9.17.
Closer.
And so that made him he needed a knot, like in the 9-ish range, I think. And he might have actually had a 7 because he wasn't comboed. He needed like a 9-ish. And the tide was filling in, and he sat and kind of had to look for a wave. Couldn't really just go on anything at that point.
Did you start tearing up?
Yeah, when I made it to the beach, I actually fell off the back of the jet ski because I was like, Pat was driving, and I was like...
Pat O'Connell was driving the jet ski?
Yeah. Pat, Pete Mel, and... Who else was it? The final, we didn't really need the skis that much, but they still had them out there.
Yeah.
But he buzzed me around, and I'm like... he's like, we're going to go by the pier, and I'm trying to hold
after
on.
The heat was over, or like...
Yeah, after.
Counting down?
Yeah. And I flew back, like pretty much just cooped it. Just backslapped.
Were you just like, this is like a pinnacle of my career. This is what I always wanted. I mean,
I actually never really even dreamed. Like people say you dream. Like I dreamed of it. I didn't really dream. I would just want to make the freaking world tour.
Yeah.
You know? At any I could have got 8 fifths.
And you didn't care as long as you made the tour.
I just want to make the world tour.
Yeah.
Surf those waves. Try to get there. You know.
Yeah.
And that was like the ultimate goal. It wasn't really like, but even winning was like, fuck it, whatever, you know.
But the U.S. Open.
But that's
being at home, I watched it for 10 years leading up to that.
Yeah.
You know? At least, yeah. I was 23, 24.
When I worked at Huntington Surf and Sport, for 12 years, every year, the summer was the biggest time of...
It's a big event, yeah.
It's a huge event.
For a qualifier,
hundreds of thousands of people come down to the beach to not necessarily watch the contest, but they're fucking there.
They're amongst it, yeah.
And globally, if you get on TV, it's a globally broadcasted.
It definitely
event.
boosted
Well,
for me
right?
at the time. Yeah, it took me to like obviously to the another category, I guess, because I was obviously going to qualify, being the local kid.
Yeah.
Close to qualifying for the world tour, which obviously blossoms even more.
Yeah.
So did you cry? Like, did you cry? Like,
Yeah, like more of like
Celebration.
happiness, kind of hugging. More when I saw Dad. We were like, Nichols hit me like waist deep. Dad was knee deep. We were hugging.
Nichols like, Dad, I got this. I'm just gonna carry him on my like one fingertip.
Yeah, on my little foot. You know, just carried him out. But he
did you get cheered up?
Yeah.
Of course.
Nice.
Yeah.
He crushed me. Nichols crushed me.
Man child.
I was already tired, but I'm like just ragdolling.
But I find that super interesting where it's like it's your local contest, huge, like arena. The money is $100,000,
yeah.
like which is
incredible. That was the big lead up to that. It was like, oh my gosh, the biggest prize purse ever.
Yeah.
At that point.
But at that time, you're not on the world tour. You haven't had a win like that before. I mean, that's gravy. But your whole mindset is like, this is a long year. I just want to make the tour.
Yeah.
And coming from an older competitor that like. I didn't care about win. You all wanted to win, but you just wanted to make the tour.
Have enough points to get on that damn.
And that was that's it for where your mind is at. It's a long tour, but this win,
it's
huge.
Just catapulted.
Well, for all this too, like in my mind, I'm thinking of if I was you, right? I'm sitting in the lineup against Mick Fanning, right? And I get a good wave, and I'm like, God, I made it all the way here. To the final, to the last day against one of the best fucking surfers in the world at my home break.
Well, I just that was just
and
the
then
point.
And then that whole week as you're like gaining momentum and you're like you think of all the scenarios in your head of what should happen, what can happen, and as a competitor, like, am I okay? Where do I sit? Do I sit here? Okay.
Well, that's at the time I was working with Kanga. And he had a great, we had a great plan, great strategy, and stuck to it, and it worked. You know, like, obviously,
that's amazing.
For myself being a coach, like, somewhat of a coach now, that stuff's tough because you can
easily mind screw yourself.
That can go right out the window, you know?
Yeah. Here's the thing, too.
Simplify it.
Yeah.
All that pressure, right?
Yeah.
And anxiety of, like, wanting it so
bad.
It's
pressure, but it's like it's excitement too.
Yeah.
So like
it's a rush.
Say you had any little bit of like.
But you know what? For everything to happen the way it did.
Yeah.
It's a lot of luck, right? Like you got
for sure. You need some
especially
base.
in surfing.
Yeah.
But you make your own luck to win,
Create,
right?
Yeah. That's what we kind of say.
The thing
These guys don't win a lot.
As a spectator, right? Going back to it, you're in the final, the last heat of the fucking contest.
There's a lot of people.
Who's going to hold up the trophy? Who's going to hold up the fucking check, right?
Not once.
Wait, whoa. We're going to talk about the second time, but think about that. You're all those people, the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people.
Whoa, dude. You're kind of over exaggerating.
Yeah.
But
there was maybe 10,000.
No!
Hundreds and hundreds of thousands.
There's a lot of fucking people on the beach watching.
I got a couple cool photos from like someone was shooting out of the back of the ski. And it might have been in 2010 when I was like sitting by Jordy and we like shook hands and they were kind of shooting back. And it's littered. It's
dude, but the stands, the pier, like there's
20,000 maybe
at least.
Yeah, but if you do through the week, there's a lot of people coming through there, and it's a big event. You know, at the time they had.
It's the biggest arena.
Hey, Larson, don't try to play it down because you've never won a big contest like this. So.
I'm just dude, Lars, my hero.
I'm just calling you.
I got there because of that.
I'm just calling you out on your hundreds of thousands.
Dude, if I could still do a C5 layback, I might blow my L fucking 5, alright? So
mine are done.
I can't, that's one of turn that I never really mastered was a layback.
Oh. Yeah, but you got the air reverse.
You got everything. You got everything else, dude. You got everything else.
Yeah, the layback.
Okay,
dude,
so
haunts me.
Boom, you win $100,000.
Were your parents now?
I blew it all. I got 2 chains, a freaking Louis bag.
Just went to the car dealership.
Blew it all.
No, you
So
didn't.
then that
Actually,
propelled you
your
to the
dad-
world tour.
Dad was on it.
Your dad's like,
oh,
okay.
He's like,
Yeah,
I've
let's
never
talk
made
about
this
that.
amount of money.
He's all 40
One
grand's
time.
got to go set
Well,
aside. You didn't
40
want
grand goes straight to the
Uncle
IRS.
Sam.
Yeah.
So you're like, F you. Spend
But
over.
he knew.
Here's 30.
Yeah.
So you got 70, kid. What are you going to do? You know? So he was, thank God for him.
Yeah. Because he's your agent.
He's the agent,
Yeah.
Bob's agent.
He
Yeah.
wants you to...
Well, he understands, like, dude,
This isn't
what
going to last forever.
What I did wrong, I don't want it to happen to you. Whether,
Right.
you know, like, he put his family in a good situation,
Yeah.
but, like, ultimately probably could have... He learned.
Yeah.
Could have done some stuff different.
Oh, if we all
you
had the
know?
crystal ball.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
we all roll back the clock. Like,
So
Lyndon,
that-
let's go back. Let's go back. Yes, please, let's go back. I would have changed a lot of things.
But
So how was that moment when you're on the...
Well, at that stage, I'm like, dude, I got the girl of my dreams, pretty much. She wants to get married. I'm like, dude, if we're gonna have a wedding, we're gonna get married. We want to get a house. That stuff starts to kind of. That was a little thereafter.
Yeah.
But obviously, the money was. We held on to it. Didn't do anything stupid. I was just kidding.
Yeah.
And started to just diversify the portfolio. No, we just kept it around. Obviously, like put some money away.
Yeah.
Put some money. I think I ended up, going in with my brother. We got a condo in like North Huntington, right off Bolsa Chica there, and
Sweet.
Algonquin. Had that place for a while. Just smart,
Yeah.
I didn't do anything too stupid.
So, did you get a trophy for that?
Yeah, got 2 epic trophies. There's like, it's pretty much cut out of like chunk of the pier.
That's cool.
Okay.
It's like, it's not, but it's heavy
looks like
too.
it.
Yeah, they cut it and it's like wood on the inside with cement. Like it's pretty cool, like barnacle cement.
Yeah. And did you get to keep the
They
check?
embroidered it like just about the year and whatever it meant.
Sick.
Blah blah blah. Yeah, the big check. I got them in my house.
Sweet.
2
Cool.
big ones in the hallway.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good memory.
Kids are trying to
Good
knock them off
memorabilia.
the damn walls.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's
was
cool.
your
It's like-
mom and dad on the beach that day?
Mom and
just
dad
like
were there.
tripping, just like...
Yeah, it was surreal because like at that stage, all I want to do is kind of impress your dad.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, all I want to do is do something good for him.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, I don't care. Just win, lose, or draw. I already was pretty stoked to where I was.
Yeah.
Like, he was obviously happy, but it was like,
but your
nah.
parents' expectations
Yeah.
and their happiness for you is way up
Just,
there.
they want the best.
Dude, if he
It's
would have
like-
bowed out in the quarters, I bet your dad would
He
have
was
been like,
psyched.
dude, you're fucking
it was
killing
dude,
it.
After that, it was all freaking gravy.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, that was, at that point, I was spending a bunch of money on training with Kanga, and money's going out, dude. I'm fucking all in to make this tour. It was pretty much all or nothing. Or I don't know what I'm doing after this,
Yeah.
So it's like you're the sacrifice. I finished high school. I wasn't in college or anything, So I was at the stage where 1 or 2 more years, I might be over it.
Yeah.
You do that for a while, and
So did you start training with Kanga that year?
it might even been the previous year,
Okay.
and we were having some success.
Yeah.
I had some good results. It was climbing the rankings.
How'd you get turned on to Kanga? Like, who suggested?
I think Pat O.
Oh, okay.
I think Pat O back in the day might have used them, and just great theory. Like his theory is just strong-minded, willed.
But that's half of. I mean, that's
half the
half
battle.
of it.
Half the battle, dude. Maybe
One
more at
being
times.
physically fit and ready for any condition, because you never want to lose being not fit.
Yeah.
If
I've had a few where you're left with your
you-
tail between your legs.
Yeah,
I could've
if
done
you
more.
lose
I
because
needed-
you're gassed,
Yeah.
there's no worse feeling.
Frustrating.
But if you lose because the luck or the opportunity didn't come to you to
There's
execute,
so many people
There's
that
a-
have talent
yeah.
that they just don't have the mental fortitude for
It
it.
is.
Fortitude and finding getting a break here or there.
Yeah.
It does matter. That couple back-to-back losses can be crushing.
Dude.
Where if you have a win, all of a sudden you're just chest out and things are going your way. It's different,
Yeah.
And so that kind of stuff, it's almost unteachable.
Yeah.
You have to really actually
You have to
just
live it.
feel. You have to feel it and
Yeah.
live it.
And you got to be
because can't-
tough. You got
You gotta be
it's
tough.
an emotional
Dude,
roller
I
coaster.
went on the 2 when I ended up making the tour. I went like 6, and I thought I was gonna be. Ricky Basnett did. I don't think he made a heat, and he's a great surfer.
Yeah.
And I had a run of like 6
He's South
losses
African
first
guy,
round
right?
in a row, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna set the record, dude." But I didn't care. I was willing to go until the wheels fell off.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so you win 2009 Hurley Pro U.S. Open. That propels you into the world, the WCT.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
my first year would be 2010.
2010.
Yeah.
WCT.
And pretty much from 2010 to 2015, those 6 years, I stayed around. Not every
The
year
Dream
did I
Tour.
qualify. A couple years I had a double, but not. I mean, I was on it for 6 straight, which was,
Impressive.
Yeah,
I mean, that's huge.
I had to battle both sides of it, and that's like, dude, you're doing. Say you do 10.
That's double the work.
You do 10 CTs. You're also doing 10 to 12 qualifiers. It's a long year.
Yeah.
But
you got to do what you got to do to
sure.
stay in the mix.
Yeah.
Of
because
the
you're
world
like
stage.
you're balancing like, all right.
But at this time, you're treating it like a job. You're like, oh, cool, I get to go to X, Y, and Z locations, and I get to go chill. Like you go to these spots, and you're like,
well, dude, a lot.
Wow,
of
I'm
it
in
was,
all this thing, but I'm like stressed, and I'm like
And
not
I
happy.
feel like
and it was all new again.
Yeah.
I went from fucking achieving the biggest dream that I was done. I pretty much made the tour and felt like that's one thing I would have changed my mindset a little bit.
you thought you
And I had
achieved
to-
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, this is even way fucking harder now. Pardon my French, but I was like, this. Now it's like all new waves. I'm going to Chopu. I'm going to Tavi.
Yeah.
I'm going to freaking where else?
J-Bay.
J-Bay. I'm going to all these spots where I've never even been.
Yeah.
Maybe J-Bay, but Chopes and all that was all kind of a learning curve first year. And I had more success there than a lot of other spots.
Yeah.
But I think it was just the simplicity of like, dude, I'm pulling in. Like, obviously we don't get crazy barrels, but go to a river, you go to places where you're packing barrels, closeouts, blah, blah, blah. And I felt like I always had the ability.
But you
It's
just
like,
never
dude, you put
put
me
the
in
time
that
in.
position.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. And I know I figured out what I'm kind of looking for in this wave. It's not like the most, it's just, it's a big slab. Like, dude, there's guys literally 12 yards from you in the channel, and you're like, shit, I got to turn around. You don't even paddle out. You just sit there and go, fine, black blob, all right. Get under it. I don't want to be at the top of this thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of like, it's simple, where there's other spots where you're like, I can get a little barrel, I got to come out and do 5 turns, and that would always confuse me, is like,
When
I knew I
there's
had
multiple-
the ability, but it was kind of just adapting to those conditions and like adapting to those situations where sometimes the freaking wheels would fall off.
Also, it's the world stage.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
For sure.
You're
Well, and it's a difference from like being smart and putting a heat together than wanting to put on this crazy performance. That can haunt you, because you want to show people what you're made of.
Yeah.
But sometimes like people don't really remember that when you
No,
speak through a couple
it's all
heats.
about peaking at the right time.
For
Like,
sure.
Being
And-
a journeyman at the beginning of the contest, and then
At
working
the end.
working your way up to a big finish.
Yeah,
right.
For sure,
Like you
and
did at
that's
the
hard,
US Open.
and it's really hard to do though, because there's some heats where it's just going to go your way and you're going to get big scores. You can't say no, right? Like sometimes it'll fall into your lap. Some other ones you got to grit down and make smart decisions, hold a guy off a wave, and take an opportunity off someone. And that stuff matters, and that's the hard part to get your head around it sometimes.
Did you get the QS is normally not as great a quality of waves as like the
For sure.
the Dream Tour, the World Tour. Were you overly excited? Like when you got to some of those spots, you're like, dude, I can't, not just Chopu, but Fiji or Indo or
surfing my
what,
brains
you're
out.
like, dude, I am, this is a dream.
I felt like
surf.
I was always like go to spots and be like a standout in the free surfs, and then just fucking have a shocker in my heat.
Right here.
And that just was like, and that was kind of like, all right.
Lar can relate.
I can relate.
Just be like, damn it, dude.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
put it together.
the QS is such a grind, and there are so many just unique places, and not in a unique way of like really goods,
Yeah.
And it was really tough to
It's mental. They're both mentally. You got to be prepared. Yeah, you got to You got to really want it.
Yeah. And I feel
Can't
like
just-
I was
that's just
thinking
gonna
this earlier when we were talking about pro surfing. Like, pro surfing has elevated so much more now. Not to take anything from your generation of pro surfers, but these guys fucking.
Well, they're the
train.
benchmark. Like, you got to look.
It's all
You have to
evolution.
Dude, you have to be
like you guys.
You have to be super
You guys were
knowledgeable
jock-
to the game.
kind of more jock, like
for sure.
training.
But that the knowledge to the game. And one thing we sat down with, like Kobe Bryant did this USA surfing thing. You guys probably saw, but he was really like, dude, I don't surf, but the translation from looking at tendencies, who did well where and why.
Yeah.
Like, who did the East, the Celtics and them were really good because they ran this and they had this defense and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And you look at surfing, like, who wins at Bellows? A lot of times power surfers, right?
Yeah.
Big carbs. You go to Chopu, it's these specialists that are gnarly in the pit. They spend a lot. There's these tendencies that go around. That shit doesn't change. Yeah, there may be the Felipe Toledo now who can do a lot bit more.
Yeah.
But there's equalizers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Barrels.
Yeah.
Big, long walls.
Yeah, you know Jeremy Flores is going to be in the
packing
top,
20 footers, you know?
Packing deep.
So,
Under the
you
lip.
know, when you're sitting on the shoulder and he's freaking 20 yards deeper, there's variables still. So that kind of stuff, the game has elevated a lot. The abilities, the skills, and all that. But there is something to take from from way back, Currens to like how Barton won. You know, more of a technical side. You know, and he did it. That's how he won early. When I don't think a lot of guys even thought about that stuff. You know, so the evolution of the game is like goes on for a while. You know, and so that kind of shit is like you do still have to do your homework, and I think nowadays is kind of a little bit jaded in just the now.
Yeah,
and I think in a lot of sports. You know, like I look at Mike Trout and I like my dad goes, dude, he's a throwback. Like this guy is freaking
biggest contract ever.
Yeah, he got a huge contract, but the way he plays the game, the way he carries himself is just like just that's what an old dog likes to see, you know?
Yeah. It's not getting propped up from like the celebrity status or the hype.
No.
It's having a really good ground game, regardless of the sport.
Exactly.
Understanding the game, understanding
letting
yourself.
your performance speak for yourself.
But, you know, it's performance, it's your time put in, it's like you said, okay, this wave, I gotta approach it this.
Dude, it's knowledge
this wave, I gotta
your
approach
eras before you.
Yeah.
And I think that it ultimately does matter. The more information you can account for, it can be clustered at sometimes.
Yeah.
Overthinking it.
Yeah.
Easy.
And that's surfing. It's like, dude, wave number 2, and then boom. It's like, dude,
do I have the right boards? Do I have
no,
this?
like
do I have that?
at elite level, any level, you look at a wave like, dude, this is a good little wave right here. Like I can get dude, I used to be like, I can get an 8 on this. I can get a 6. You know, like you almost narrow it down as it's coming in, like 2-turn combo.
Yeah.
Like that was the mindset at when I was making a lot of heats on the QS. It was just
try to
like,
predict
dude,
what
this
you're
thing
gonna do.
5-5 on a 3.
Well,
you know,
you hear,
and it was just like that shit just came. And then sometimes when you were losing, you'd overthink it, pass up 1, give a guy a 9.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you're done.
Yeah.
You're on the back
it's
foot.
a chess.
You know?
It's a chess match, but it's also like you just mentioned, it's having that confidence in yourself to where you're just doing enough to like make the heat, but you also want to do just a little bit more to like just show everybody that you're going to go up against. Like you've got somebody coming at you. You know, like there's that fine line of just getting through, but also showcasing your competitors. Like
you're
watch out for me because
judges.
It's not just that heat; it's everybody.
You're trying to let the judges know that you have that next level ability or whatever it is. Like you can compete at this level. You know, and sometimes that can get in the way.
Yeah.
You know, of trying too much, trying too hard, trying to press again. Which obviously, if you surf at that level, you're gonna press. You know, but
are there some spots that you went to for a competition, but you were like, man, this sucks because there's 100 guys of the best surfers around the world.
That was always
just ruining this setup and what I thought I was going to enjoy here. Did you ever go back to some of those spots?
That was the hardest part ultimately when you go, because you're like, I'm on the dream tour, I'm going to surf perfect waves, but then you're out there with 30, 40 best guys in the world.
Yeah.
And hungry.
You
get a 16-year-old Medina. Guy's hungry. Dude.
Hungry.
And then you get like, he went from.
Do you feel like just telling him? Shh.
Well, everyone had their like moment where like, dude, and he would go on waves that people really were going on, but still, he'd always, and he learned and he grew and he got older and now he's world champ and he can't be stopped, but he's running through walls anywhere he goes. But it's like, he has that will. He's the one that I watch the most where I'm like, any condition, no matter what, it could be like 6 foot and offshore, and all of a sudden it blows onshore, and he's like, I'm gonna adapt.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn. He can adapt to anything.
Yeah.
You know, and John can, but
I think there's a handful of surfers on tour. There's a lot that have the ability, but there's one on one hand.
Yeah,
I'm saying 5.
Yeah.
That can adapt.
Yeah.
And can execute in anything. And you can watch it through the event. Like you could watch the guys.
Well, that's another thing. Like
change,
bringing up bringing up your level, even as the heat goes on. Like starting off, a couple of weird ones. Like if a guy gets a big score, all of a sudden he's got a big score. Like it's wild. Like what he did at Pipe this year,
insane,
was freaking wild.
He did it 2 years in a row. It seems like
he created.
It was like the waves are slow. There's some good ones, but it's slow.
He'd
be like
he
comboed at the start, and you're like, dude, this is it. And then boom.
That year that he surfed against Julian, and Julian got some big scores, and then he got that fucking backside cavern disappeared.
That might have been
last year.
Was it last year or the year before?
Julian ended up winning the 1 year, right?
Yeah, Julian. He's still but it was like so.
But
close.
Gabby won the title.
I think Gabby won the title.
I don't know. But he's.
This is about me, bro.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Lyndon always calls me out on that. Like, dude, this is about like Simple, not you, bro. And I'm like, that's why I'm here.
We were talking about Gabby, not Larson.
What are we gonna talk about?
Dude, we got so many on here. We got a list of everything.
Dude,
so
I'm ready.
So like, who on the CT did you
favorites
feel? Surfer.
Let him see
Who?
it, bro.
What's your? What was the gnarliest, closest heat, or who was the guy that you loved to
Slater
beat?
pissed me off one time.
Yeah.
And this was my last year on tour, 2015. I'm like trying to.
You're like, retire already, Barn.
No, was it 2015? It might have been. Actually, I don't know. It might have been like 2014.
You old man.
But I made a few heats. I was like round 3 with Slater. I'm like, all right. And it's 3 to 4 foot super tubos. Not barreling, kind of more rippable, but kind of like surfing I don't know, high tide noops or something. I don't know. And I got a good start. I got like a 6.5, couple turns, backed it up. He ended up having a 5, and I kind of shadowed him. I like, well, if I had priority, I'd be with him. I wasn't letting him just roam the beach. And we were going up and down the beach. And he came in, and I ended up getting him. And he's like, dude, what are you, fucking Brazilian now?
What?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, come on. And they kept announcing he's won like 350 heats. I'm like, and he would have told, like, even if I saw him today, I'm like, he would have told me to do exactly that.
Yeah.
He was always trying to help.
That's what you
and
do.
then I
We
got
learned
him,
from the master.
and I like learned, and I finally put a heat together. And he fucking gave me that. I was like, fuck you, dude. Like, that's bullcrap. Like,
But
my hero's just jabbing at me.
But that's him getting in your head because for the next time you meet, like it's not just that he.
And I almost did him a good deed the year before. I ended up beating Gabby, and round 4, and he was in the next heat versus Eritz, and the waves were pretty decent. And he was in the title race. If he goes on to like get the finals or move on, he's going into Pipe, and he ended up losing
to Ritz.
Yeah. And that one I remember, but whatever. That heat was like, it was kind of almost inside. I was so stoked because he's pissed off. But I'm like, dude, that's
a lot of competitors are like that.
We're all like, under the skin everyone's of your like that.
Oh yeah,
it's like as tight as we want to be. It's like, dude, you can't.
Yeah.
You can only
you have to beat each other.
Give so much to like they're all, I know most of the guys, and we're your friendship, but it's like, out there, it's like you just making a heat can be your career, dude.
So what was your best like CT result on
I had
tour?
a few thirds. I had like the multiple thirds, yeah. I never made a final. Close, where
what were your thirds?
I got a third, cool event or the France.
Oh yeah.
France had a third there. I think it was crazy year. Like
was there?
Kelly and Mick were in the final. I got third with Ace.
Wow.
Hasser was so incredible.
It was a big barrel.
Who'd you go down to in the semi?
Kelly. So I let him. I kind of went down the beach like cleaner water, and I'm like, it was pretty good. It was like 6 to 8 feet. Just there were some square ones. He went out front in this riptide. You guys probably remember the wave. He free fell sideways.
Was he wearing a white wetsuit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He like free fell in this rip bowl right and like stood up and just fell into this thing. And I'm like, fuck, should I go over there. I let him go, and it's like,
hey, to get
yeah.
thirds.
Yeah, no, it was a great experience.
God
yeah.
damn.
Where else? I had a Portugal one. Lost
Portugal.
to Felipe.
When was Portugal?
Super Tubos?
That was a long ago. That was probably 2014 or 15.
Yeah.
And then where else?
I remember the clip where you're like, yeah, Kelly told me to go down the beach.
Yeah. I got a fifth at Snapper. I got a fifth at Chopu. Those are probably my most memorable ones.
Yeah.
I lost
we were so stoked for you.
Dude, it was like...
Because, us...
Yeah, I had you on my fantasy surf team,
code
bro.
red, bro.
Yeah.
A bunch of times.
Code red means, like, you don't sleep for a week.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Sitting in your place, just like...
Stomach growling,
God,
like, dude, I have to
gonna
paddle
be,
up.
like, the day we walked up, we, like, drive down to the point to see if there's waves, and it's, like, it's so big, it's backless, and you can't even see it. All you see is, like feather, like, whitewash shooting up. You're like, it's not that big, but no one's towing yet. And we go to the port to like go on the internet to say our goodbyes. And pretty much Raimana comes walking in, just like hit the reef, like has all life vest, everything, but he's just purple, like one side of his body, just 5 guys helping him, like, oh shit. It's like,
wow.
And they cleared the water. They stopped it for like 2 hours. And then Lori and Longbottom and all the boys are like, screw it. We're out there.
What year was that?
Code Red was probably like 12, 11,
I don't know.
11, 12.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. That morning, then they didn't run the comp.
No, but non like WCT surfers flew there specifically for that as well.
Yeah,
they're like
got his shorts ripped off, he was naked riding around on the ski Abertons, just driving him around. God, dude, that was the Fletcher free fell in this 60.
That
dude,
was
crazy, bro.
But even like
I paddled out in the channel, and it like talk about a tsunami. Because it was like, I don't even know how many feet at 20 odd seconds. And it was like, paddled out in the channel. Because you paddle out, it is just like, dude, skis are flying around, water world. And you're paddling, it just feels like you're just this little ant.
Yeah.
So much water moving through the channel. And they're like, dude, fuck,
but a couple, I think, was it Joel? I know Julian paddled out.
Julian did. Yeah. Julian actually got towed.
Yeah.
And it's funny
because he's like, this is a once in a lifetime, and
Dean Bowen towed him into one.
Yeah,
and Owen was out there. Owen will go on anything.
And
too. Bowen was like, it's not your time, kid.
Yeah.
Dean Bowen was like, fuck you, and because Owen's gnarly. Dude.
Yeah,
he wanted to get his taste of it. I was like, fuck that. I'm watching guys. Guys' vests are ripping off. They're coming out from waves, bloody nose. Their ears are bleeding. It was just brutal, dude.
Yeah. What's the biggest wave you've ever surfed?
I haven't surfed like any. I mean. 20-foot face, not like big wave charger,
but
barrels.
Oliva,
like
Max out, Sunset Max out.
I never do Jaws or Mavs.
Yeah.
But just not the desire. Not that I don't think I can do it.
Yeah.
But it's not really. I've been more focused on the performance, I guess. Performance.
Well, that Chopu was like
those guys are.
No, I hate.
It's another mind frame.
I don't even like watching big waves, to tell you the truth.
Dude, it's gnarly.
I remember
watching that Jaws stuff like from your couch. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, when I used to go to Tahiti, it was before the internet and Surfline and all that shit, cameras, and there used to be a QS.
QS, yeah. Was it Kobe? Kobe Everton win it or?
Yeah. And the one year, same thing. They're like, oh, huge swell's coming, huge swell coming, and the first like big like day, the wave's about a mile out.
Yeah,
and you just see white water. Yeah. Normally, regular days, you can't even see anything, and you see like just explosions out there. And I get in a boat, sun's just barely coming up, and I'm with Pete Frieden. He's all, it's fucking pumping. You better take off.
He's freaking
and I'm like,
out,
I'm waxing up, just so like shivering. I get out there,
what
and
floor did you?
I had a 7.0 Xanadu, and at the time you rode bigger boards, and now I would have been on like a 6'6", just trying to make, because you didn't want to poke your nose and get caught. But
you almost want like just paddle area.
But I remember seeing like there was probably 15 people in boats, and there was about 15 guys out, and it was like
Dama.
No, it was like Takayuki Wakita and it was like Braden Diaz and Sion. It was like
Hedgie?
all the
Was Hedgie
all
around?
the Hawaiians and like a few Japanese, all the gnarlies, and nobody was taking off on sets. It was just like
Toe sets, yeah.
you know, like
This is
and,
Chopu?
and I'm in the lineup, yeah, and I'm like, and you know, I got a
Freedom,
photographer, I
yeah.
got guys, I can get out there. It was fucking
Yeah,
nuts.
it's
Did you get a wave?
I did. I got 3 that day, and
If you make them,
and
you're all good.
and at the time you're just so focused on not dying that you know I don't think I ever got like really like super.
Did
deep
you get
in.
photos?
I don't know. They're not obviously not enough to get fucking.
I don't believe it.
Photographer. But so that day.
Fake story, fake
Yeah.
news over here.
So that day
It's a fake news.
it turned like bad winds at like 8 a.m. and it kept getting bigger.
You're like, thank God the winds are here.
Yeah, and the whole swell, the whole
The wind
storm,
was brutal.
the whole storm, like that particular year, because we did 2 years. That year we actually went down a couple of wave passes,
No pass.
yeah, we
Yeah.
went down and they held the contest at another spot
That's
because
sick.
it was pumping and the waves weren't, or the wind wasn't good. It wasn't safe.
More rippable.
And then the next year, I think is when the boat like got washed up on the reef, and that's when Kobe won.
Yeah.
And it was just as back in that year too. You know, like it was intense.
It's funny because the first time I went there, I'm like, it was small. And I'm like,
Perfect.
how does this wave get over? Like, it was 6 foot, and you're like, did it close out?
Yeah.
It close out for sure.
Yeah.
Just the way the angle and the channel, it's like, but it's so deep from like the channel to around the corner, it just moves out and just lurches. These west things coming out of the channel, and they're just like,
I have no desire to surf anything.
it's fun when it's like 4 to 6, dude. It's pretty perfect.
Still dangerous though.
Yeah, for
Super
sure.
shallow.
Shallow.
So
Yeah,
shallow.
people get smoked.
And who would get hurt?
You.
Yeah.
This
But
guy gets
it'd
hurt
be fun
everywhere.
though.
Yeah.
It all blasted.
Yeah. A little refresh. He's had that before.
I got blasted there after the comp one year. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go out, try the quad, and I'm backside pumping in this pit, get worked. My board, I'm getting washed underwater, and boom, hits me right in the face.
Ooh.
I'm like, I'm seeing stars. I come up and I see Damon. He's like, paddle this way, and I'm just rattled. I could like, and my nose was just slit. I got a scar still, but it was just slit like nostril, and I'm like, and I see blood, and I'm like, oh god,
How bad is it,
get me
man?
to the boat, get me out of here. And there's waves. I'm like in that end zone where you're gonna get dry docked. You're gonna have to do the paddle around. You know, it starts to get real shallow. So I'm like paddle at my butt off to get out to the channel, get out. And they zip me in, stitch me up. Came home, and the guy had to re-stitch it. He called it the hockey treatment. Redid it, straightened me up. He's like, you better come back in a few years. I'm like,
So
I'm alive.
So going back, right? You win the U.S. Open 2009. You make it on WCT. Let's talk about how'd you do on that first year of the CT?
The first year, I actually won my first heat.
Nice.
I do know that. I won my first heat at Snapper. I had Dane and somebody else. When I won my first heat, it was pretty average Snapper. But to win it was cool.
Yeah.
I think I went on that year was fairly rough. Made a few heats, but nothing major from what I remember.
And you were double qualifying, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then from there, take us back to the U.S. Open.
From there, yeah,
2010.
that same year, that was the same year. Had a few heats on the CT, came into the U.S. Open, and it was like deja vu. Just the waves were a little smaller, but the similar kind of
I think it was like the swell direction was kind of similar,
but not
big.
as big. Yeah, but like performance
Rights against the grain were happening.
against the grain. It got a few lefts. I remember. Had some good heats. That year, I ended up getting. I think I got beat Slater in the quarters of the semis. It wasn't a high score. It was kind of a high tide, like straight hander out the back, maybe a reform. We had like, I don't know, maybe had like a 6 and a 5. He had a couple 5s. Poor guy came up short. But
Did he give you shit again?
no, he actually was on my side. He was on my side.
He's like,
Gotta win this
stoked, I'm
thing.
out of here. I was supposed to
Yeah,
sign
I
a
gotta
service
go.
for it. Now I can bounce out early.
I gotta go. Who else did I have? That was semi. I'm trying to think again. That year actually might have had.
You only
guys
think about
on.
the final. Who
Yeah,
cares about
but Jordy in the final. And Jordy had
Awesome.
a couple great opportunities. I kind of went consistent, like 7 and a 6, put a couple turns together, lefts into the pier. He had like a left where he went for a big air, nearly pulled it. And this was at his time of like, maybe just signed his big deal with O'Neill.
Okay.
He was kind of the guy, JS, just on point, you know. And,
Yeah.
still is. He's probably one of my. I'm kind of rooting for him this year, but
Yes.
Yeah, that was the year he started, I think, blowing up, right? Like,
Well, he was really focused. He never really had the results yet then, but he was really spending a lot of time on honing his surfing
Craft.
ability,
Yeah,
craft,
yeah.
and putting out the movies back then.
we
and-
had Duma on. I remember him saying that that was the year that he signed with O'Neill and DVS.
Yeah.
Like he got his big contracts then.
yeah. And
When did
was
that movie? What was that movie?
Blending Colors
Blending Colors was
or
that?
Bending Colors? That was probably later. That was more
Okay.
recent, maybe.
I don't know.
But he had a few, yeah. Obviously, he's kind of been one of the favorites for a bigger guy.
Yeah.
He just he stands out. This fluidity, the style, technique.
But you fucking
Airs.
beat his ass.
Well, yeah, I was able to get another trophy. I could tell he was a bit bummed. He was like, Mick was more bummed but like happy for me.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously had
Already
more success.
accomplished
Jordy
everything.
was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Hungry.
a little more hungry, edgy.
Yeah.
And he's grown a lot too, but it's like, yeah, no
At
one
that
wants to
time,
lose.
yeah.
It's a huge win for
Yeah.
freaking incentives, money, obviously another $100,000.
Yeah.
Just all that stuff. You're hungry, like,
Was that contest $100,000 too?
yeah.
Yeah. Were your parents?
So
Your parents are like, okay, son, time to put this
Cashing
money
out.
aside.
All right, I want 30%. No, but Dad, yeah, it was like that one was a little bit more similar stuff, but like, dude, there was some deja vu where it was like, dude, the same shit's kind of happening. Like,
How do you
waking
think?
up at
How do you think
home.
Slater's felt the last 25 years? Deja vu.
No, he's like, well, I won this comp 6 years in a row. Oh shit, Simpson just beat me, like fucking. Yeah, that you have to be.
Are you
have to be.
Are you a routine guy? Like, do you have certain routines
I'm
or
more of a routine guy now
than you were back
than I
then?
was.
Yeah.
And that's why I look
No
back.
superstitions.
For sure, a little like superstition stuff. Yeah, wax and like
wax.
all that kind of gear.
Yeah.
There's some things.
Because,
yeah.
I mean, that's, I wouldn't say practical, but it's,
I was
it's more
nobody
relevant.
was waxing my board.
But it's more
Tell you that
relevant when
much.
it's
I'm
stuff
waxing my
like
board.
that.
Yeah.
You know?
But I think that's everybody.
Jordy, like Garth would wax Jordy's board. I'm like, I don't know how he does it. Dude.
Really?
Dude, how was the Rip Curl event? Just people don't
Oh,
even have
did
wax,
you- yeah.
no leash,
Picking
no
up,
fins
yeah.
are backwards.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, it's like
Owen's-
there's no wax on this thing. It's
Yeah.
like, it's a 6'4".
That was crazy.
I've never ridden it.
And was
And
it
Jeremy
Flores that
Flores.
ran all the way up to
Yeah.
fucking get his own board?
yeah.
I
People
did
are
a
tripping.
few-
How does that
I
happen?
did a few dum-dums like that. One
Yeah.
in the QS at Margaret's where I didn't have a backup board in the channel. Broke my board, came in, had to run the stairs, got back out, took somebody else's board. It was just...
It sucks.
Yeah.
But
It
it
Was I'm jumping around, but I remember, was it Fiji that was huge?
Fiji was... That was the year they
Another
called
code
it
red?
Thundercloud.
Well, you did well,
shit
right?
my pants.
You did well in that contest, like from what I remember. No?
I don't think I got past maybe a ninth.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever either 13th or 9th. I did my first round.
That's
I remember I
pretty far
beat John and somebody at restaurants, and it wasn't huge scores, but I pulled it off.
I remember
Got a few
going
pits.
because I remember I had you on my fantasy surf team, and I remember going fuck yeah, because you were going. You kept making it out
making
of
heats. Yeah, I did okay.
and it was big.
There was a few big days. There
Yeah.
was one big year, my first year on tour. I think it was myself, Jordy, and somebody else, Coyotes or something, and we got lost at sea. I was so
Lost at sea.
I was so unfamiliar with cloud break and like the little reverse rip and just out of position, and it was like that size where it was in between. There's like 8-10-foot cappers, and you're trying to catch these little double. It was a nightmare. Remember ditching my board, breaking my leash out in the middle of the ocean, like
Waving
somebody
people.
help.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those venues are, I mean, it's all experience. You
For
know,
sure.
being there, knowing
Yeah.
the lineup.
Well, and that's why dudes, obviously the ability, but they were like Parko, Mick, all those guys ended up being so comfortable everywhere they went.
Yeah.
You can have a 20-year career, you know, and
Yeah.
still, you got to
They
put
have-
in the time.
They have
That's
the
where
talent and then the experience
they
of
put
going
in
there
the
multiple
years. Yeah.
But you know, it's also evolving as a surfer and a contest, you know, competitor. Is, I mean, Fanning was never the big backside barrel tube pipe master Chopu winner.
Exactly,
Like,
yeah.
but he,
they don't even go left.
but he,
Once a year.
but
no?
he worked,
Parko moved to Fiji.
worked, and
Parko
now
moved to Fiji.
D'Souza
Did he really
is the most prime example of, dude, he would go to Bell's, go 2 weeks early and stay 2 weeks after.
yeah,
He'd go to
Parko?
Chopu a month early and surf for a month. D'Souza.
Oh, D'Souza, yeah.
He's probably the one that obviously
And pipe.
picked
And
out
Hawaii.
his flaw, picked out where
Yeah.
he needs to work on, and put it in.
Well, luckily
and everyone did over time, but I think he made it sound like I'm going to Chopu 2 weeks early, or I'm going there for a month, even on the off season or whatever.
I hate to
you know?
say it, I'm stoked that he won one world title.
No, for sure, and that just
Yeah.
kind of set the bar different because it's like he might not be the most gifted,
No.
dude,
but he's a
Headstrong.
headstrong, hard worker.
and he rips.
The belief you have to
He
do
rips.
that. The
Dude,
belief you have to have is
Yeah.
yeah.
he was giving Slater a run for his money a couple years.
He's got a nice bottom turn.
Dude. He said bottom. Anyways, but yeah, I just meant like, I mean, there's a lot of surfers.
What's that?
Yeah, look at that.
Boy, backside pan.
That's my grandma's painting.
What?
Yeah,
So sick.
my
huh?
grandma painted that.
Dude, I might have to give her a pick.
The thing.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Grandma Dory. Back in the day.
That's sick.
But I mean,
Hurley ever
Sir-
make any videos? Like,
Yeah, so we did a few. What were
Sorry
they
for
called?
jumping
You're
in.
a
What were they
dick.
called? Yeah, they shut you down.
dude.
But that's a cool question, right?
Sound and Vision. We did these
Oh.
things called Sound and Vision. It was like myself, Hank Gaskell, remember Hank?
Yeah.
Hank and then Ace. We went to West Oz.
Was he a Maui kid?
Maui Kid, yeah. They did some cool pieces, yeah. And I think that's
Hurley
another thing
is. I think you're real.
I think it's coming back. They just did a trip to
Nice.
to Caribbean with like Philippe, Barron, and Yates and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. I think it kind of went away. All these guys were doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own filmer, has their own deal.
Yeah.
I think
Now
that's
it's like-
I think that's tough for brands because of the social media. Everybody kind of went and did
Did
their
their own deal.
and
We're
it's like,
our own asset. It's
Yeah.
like we sponsor you, but they also want content too. It's like
Yeah.
you kind of have to feed them, and they're the ones paying you. You know.
yeah.
So
Sound
Sound and Vision, yeah. West Oz. We did like Sydney. Did a trip there with Bosco and a few of the guys. Did photos, video in the Sydney area, and then we went to West Oz. It was fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got super tubes.
Side note: if you didn't live here and you had a second house somewhere, where would it be?
Didn't live here. Second house.
I would say West Oz.
West Oz is pretty badass,
Dude.
but
It is in.
yeah, it's
Insane.
crazy. Have
Too
you been
big
there?
over there. I've never been.
Well, you're a
Australia.
puss, but
There's
anyway,
some
but
fun little
but
way. You can find
you
ways.
can tell them if it's 20 foot, there's like a 4
Dude, there's
footer
a
around the
left
corner somewhere.
peeler. You just get
Isn't it sharky in
Yeah,
West
you get
Oz?
lip launched
And-
by like a 20-foot white.
Yeah.
Just boof.
Yeah.
Just-
And there's tons of.
there's crazy good waves. It is a little
I gotta
bit
take a leak.
sharky.
You
Like,
guys keep-
now that I have
you
kids,
guys keep
I'm more
going.
like,
But
fudge.
but I just mean like the beauty,
Dude, it's
the,
gorgeous.
the vineyards, the lifestyle. It's just like really laid back and more like.
For sure. There is, like, I've had some of my probably most
I don't mean like,
memorable
hey, you're
sessions.
gonna score like the best waves around the world.
Oh, you'd live the best. You'd have an
You'd have a
acre
really
to-
good
yeah,
life.
Yeah.
Really
for sure.
good. So don't go
Well,
there,
that's
guys.
a hint.
Yeah, don't
To
go there. guys.
Yaden has to live here in San Clemente now.
Oh,
He wants to probably go home.
yeah.
We always talk about that.
But he knows he's got to groom his next superstar.
Yeah,
by the way.
lowers.
Yeah,
Lowers is, dude, it's busting out some kids for sure.
I love it. It's awesome though.
You
So-
know what I talking about videos and like social media content. The tour notes,
Yeah.
dude. You
PK,
guys.
I nearly went to Bali recently because I was like, Hurley wanted me to go for a sec, and then I'm like,
For Karamas or something
yeah,
else?
Karamas. And kind of just be amongst, like, they've been doing that, bringing a few athletes and kind of just, they're not sponsoring it, but
Yeah.
like, be around.
Yeah.
I was so close to doing it, but Just couldn't
Dude.
jump on that flight.
Dude.
I know.
Dude.
I know.
Get on it, Ollie.
I
but then
Jeez.
I mean the beauty
They
is
don't got the Modelas, bennies.
But the beauty is
I don't really like vintage.
Yeah.
I think if it's ice freezing cold, they're
yeah.
good.
Literally on.
But-
your
but I could see the turn off is like I'm gonna go there, not really surf that much. I'm gonna see a bunch of faces and friends, and and have a really
And
great
for me,
time.
dude, for me now, I'm in the predicament of I've got like a handful, obviously the U.S. grounds, but like a team of kids around that I've, on a weekly basis we're working and stuff. So it's kind of like, that knowledge and income, obviously, and just that whole growth. It's hard for me to. I want to go there.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It might come
Let's-
down the line.
Let's tie back to what we were talking about. Or
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
Where are we?
well,
at?
we were U.S. Open 2010. You win.
It was all downhill after that.
After
Yeah.
that,
Done.
after
Done.
that,
I started foiling.
no, you
I was actually
because you
kinda
were on
letting
tour
go.
till 2015, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how was the rest of your time on?
It was good.
Yeah.
I had ups and downs. I think the highest I finished was like 18 or 19. So I've never really like busted out.
Yeah.
But like
but
hung
you're
around, lived the
You're
life.
making a comfortable living. You're going to the cool.
I mean, dude, at that time I'm making, good money. It like 10 grand an event at least if you lose first heat. And income was good.
Yeah.
Hurley it's been about, for now it's like 15 years, but yeah, they've been supporting me, taking care of me, obviously doing trips in between that.
yeah.
Thanks, Bob Hurley.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, obviously Bob.
We love Bob.
And Ryan and
Ryan, Jeff.
Jeff
Jeff's
and the crew.
big part there
Yeah.
now too. So yeah,
And
then,
Pat.
like, Pat and Brandon. Brandon did a lot of the tour. Like, so we spent a lot of
that.
time. Yeah, on like he's moved up now, but did a lot of the tour stuff. So, and they set us up with places and physios, and dude, it was pretty spot on. They were kind of the benchmark now before that kind of stuff.
they stepped up. The athlete.
Quick did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Put their guys up together in
Yeah.
cool places, and then Hurley kind of took
Stepped
it to the
it up,
next, and
yeah.
then now Red Bulls does a great job
Yeah.
too. So
That's
Did
so
you ever
cool.
ride for Red Bull?
no,
Okay. What were your sponsors throughout your career? So it was Counterculture,
O'Neill.
O'Neill.
Went to Hurley. I had Etnies.
Etnies?
Etnies was
You
a
rode
big.
for Etnies?
Yeah, I rode for
Yeah.
Etnies for many a year. Yeah,
Many.
they were awesome. After that, I had
Dragon.
Dragon Eye.
Dragon
I had
for a long time.
glasses. Yeah.
Toyota,
Street
Huntington
Sport.
Beach.
Toyota HB's been taking care of me for a
Sugar
long
Shack.
time.
We
Sugar
love
Shack.
Toyota.
I also Future Fins has been with Future for
Yeah,
a
Barry.
lot of years. Yeah, the crew over there. Is Barry still there?
He's not there.
He's
anymore.
not
Piping him up.
Vinny Del Negro.
Vinny.
Who else? Freaking! I've had Vertra. It's taken care of me for a lot
Still?
of years. Yeah. Is that kind of against?
No, I like it. I like it.
Fanning, Dorian,
Bobby Lockhart.
Bobby. Whoa.
Bobby. Yeah, it is Bobby.
Yeah.
Who else, dude? Too many to talk about. No.
You've had a blessed
Stamps.
life, buddy.
Oh, I went from Timmy Patterson, Hamish Graham, Super Sticks, JS.
How long did you ride for
Mayhem.
JS for?
Couple years.
And then Mayhem.
Same. Awesome dude. Love the guy.
Yeah.
Straight up. And then now Timmy.
Yeah,
Stamps.
Biola.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, Timmy.
how did you transition to stamps?
Those were like my girls. Surfboards were like my girlfriends.
Okay.
Like I had my girlfriend / wife, but I'm like, I like playing the game. Different feels.
Yeah.
variety
It's
is the
kinda
spice
like-
of life.
If I got one girl, I gotta have different boards,
Yeah.
Shimmy and shake. And I always just felt like that was just how to learn different feel, different
Yeah.
whatever it was. It was like freshen you up. Say you're in a slump and you're like, I gotta jump on something different.
But there's been plenty of people that jumped on, say Channel Islands, Alex.
Yeah.
Obviously had the best team and the longest run of the hype and still are. But sometimes the boards didn't work for that
For
person.
sure.
And then
Yeah.
they went and rode something else. So It's not just the shaper. It's about your connection with the shaper, but what works under your feet.
Exactly. And I think you can get stagnant at a point.
Yeah.
If you're not trying, you can bust out the same board, but at some point you're like, okay, we need something different.
Yeah.
You know? And obviously if you sign a deal, it's one thing, but I never really had a deal. But I try to be honest and like obviously had success at every stage with each of them and found good boards, you know? And I probably could have stayed on one my whole career, but it was just something I felt like kind of helped me evolve.
Yeah.
You know? And that was the fun part is like meeting them and learning different things. And I never got too in depth like what's going so much on in the board. Maybe single concave, double concave in the feel, the rail, and the, you know, where the hard spot is at the back. And, you know, but nothing, I couldn't tell you like too much about.
Yeah.
That's
not too deep in the weeds. You like.
I would just I just give them like, this is kind of what I felt it did well.
Yeah.
How can we make it differently better?
Yeah.
You know, if that's
leaving it up to the craftsman.
We both ride.
Because that's kind of
both ride Tim stamps. I mean.
He's a dick, dude. He's a total dick.
Yeah, I asked for futures and he gave me FCS2s. Stamps.
Most shapers are the same. What you ask for, you definitely get something way different. You know? They all have. That's the artistic side to them.
Kind of like you never know what you're gonna get.
Wow. Yeah. If only we were filming.
Pasties or not, you know?
No, but it's true. Like just and you look at a lot of career surfers, and I'll speak to Slater, or Rob Machado. Some guys that have their own brand of surfboards, but they've really helped kind of stay in the mix, keep evolving, changing it up. Like
they know how to make money.
They don't make money, but I'll
sacrifice a few years of bad heats to make a couple mil.
But you gotta stay interested, and I think
for sure. Like Jay and I were talking about, like, dude, imagine doing it for 27 odd years.
Yeah.
Like riding the same 6.0.
Yeah.
You're just going, dude. I do it now. I'm like, I haven't surfed even that long. Haven't surfed that long as he's been on tour, and it's like I can only imagine. I'm always dicking with my stuff. Like for me now, I do it a lot more because I want to mess with fins or get a little different feel here. When I was on tour, I was strictly like got my 2 sets of fins, and I would switch to the board or whatever, switch board sizes or lengths, you know. Yeah. But now I like to mess around, you know, and I'm sure.
But your boards, but your standard shortboard. 10 years ago is different from your shortboard today.
I rode 6.2s
yes.
in NSSA. I was probably... The normal was like 6 inches taller, 5 or 6 inches taller.
Yeah.
Now it's like your height or smaller, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
And for me now with a lot of the Groms, I'm trying to push them in a little sense of like, little more board at a younger age I think is good. Because it helps the style, the flow, the normal technical
smooths
stuff.
out their style.
Yes.
Plus, it makes it harder for them to make that board work.
Try to do too much.
Right, but you're almost doing them a favor by giving them something harder to work with. You know what I mean?
Too, when you're growing, you're like, oh, I'm on some of these kids are on 410s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. Let's get you a 5.1 or whatever it is, Let's move it up so you slowly, next thing you know, in 2 years, you're going to be that tall.
Yeah.
And so you kind of got to almost match it beforehand, then you're too late.
Yeah.
Because then it's it takes a while to get back on. So if you're on this board and you're kind of staying ahead of the curve,
I think about it. If you're putting a board that's 3 or 4 inches longer and you're putting it
on the rail
and into the tighter spots.
You're just covering more distance easily.
But when you like ride the board when you filled out and you're like you're doing even harder turns, putting it in the rail, putting it in the toughest spots of the wave, right?
For sure. And that's the technical side is you have to stay back, you can't force it. Yeah. And now they want to feel that kind of squirrely little want to get there, and you kind of have to draw it out a little bit more. But I think for a young kid, that's the, like, you can do 3 turns and still get a 9 if you're talking contests.
Oh, yeah.
So the technical side is like, they all want to do airs, right? Okay. But I think if you get the base down first and then...
I don't think that's changed, but I do think the perception of what the kids get, patted on the back for. Like, that air was sick. But they missed 3 sections and they didn't bottom turn right.
And their style's horrible.
Yeah.
So
that's a big part,
yeah.
And so equipment is
back to the tour.
Yeah.
2015.
The dream.
That's when you.
That was my final finale. Yeah.
So what was?
I had a good result. I was pretty much out, and then I got like a 3rd at the second to last stop at Portugal. Had a last ditch hope at Pike, but ended up round 3 bomb out.
Okay. And you fell off the tour.
Yeah.
And then you said,
a few spots out. Missed. Well, I didn't know.
But at that time, 2015, you're like, I'm done doing both tours because it's
pretty much
you got a wife.
Yeah.
By
I had a wife at that time. I had a kid
and
daughter,
a kid.
My daughter's 2. Yeah.
So you're like,
they did a little traveling, which was cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna focus all on the CT.
Yeah.
Because doing both tours is just
it's too much.
Way too much.
And then. I even after that I did a few years of I'll dabble, have a look, do some
selective events,
and went to Japan the second year, maybe it was even last year. Went to Japan and I'm like, that's it, bro. Clipped, sitting there in my little whatever you call it, little thing, just going, what am I doing?
Yeah,
with the wave shitty.
Yeah, it was small.
Shonen.
Probably. It was Chiba.
Chiba,
yeah, and I'm like. I don't know. It wasn't the ability but it was the mind work and the drive to getting up every day and doing that whole thing. It's like, nah.
Yeah. I love Japan. I won a contest there, and I called Lyndon. One of my only victories. First guy I called.
You remember it?
And I was crying on the phone to him.
That's
Lyndon, I finally did it. He's all eye of the tiger.
Do you play ping pong?
Yeah,
we play ping pong.
I'm not. Yeah, it's great. I'll go wall on you.
He was my
always backhand.
He was my gamer, my head.
Yeah.
Don't say gamer. Gamer's stupid.
Whoa, sorry.
What do you mean? Chess
talking.
Player. He was my chess master.
No, but Lars got a lot of fucking talent, but in between his ears, there's not a lot there.
Whoa. Wow. Look at this guy.
He can take it. He can take it.
It's fine.
See, some people can't take it, and then they're gone.
No.
They're really gone.
He
knows how to humor.
That's how we jab each other.
We jab each other.
Yeah.
But,
contests.
You were a great fucking surfer. Or still are.
Yeah.
But you didn't have what it took to be a world tour surfer.
Yeah, and the contest surfing sucks.
I mean, you had to have...
I think, that era, too, you guys had, that was kind of the start of a new niche, too.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
You guys can make good money.
You probably had more fun than he did.
Surf good waves, yeah. I did.
I did.
I lost so
That's why
much.
You got called late night Lars.
I lost so much. I contemplated, dude. It was dude, this is the whole thing.
I actually, besides Japan and a couple spots, all the best surfing contests, best waves, were only 1, 2, 3 stars.
Yeah.
All the 4.
That's still how it is.
All the highest rating events were in really bad areas.
Bahia, Brazil.
And I didn't. And I
You're running out for a heat, and a monkey jumps on you out of the bushes.
And I was like,
dude, my leash is gone.
And it was frustrating. Yeah.
A monkey jumps on you.
But it was definitely tough, and I definitely was on the transition of free surfing, video, photo, traveling, and I was happy doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is about...
You're surfing good waves.
This is about Brett Simpson.
Yeah, we're just talking about
Japan.
Japan.
This is about Simpo.
You know what? People want to hear about my stories
No.
and how I can
No, they don't.
to
No, they
about
don't.
Japan.
Not every single...
You ever go to Roppongi?
Oh, yeah. I watched a guy knock his damn tooth out there. So good. I was with Roy, and we're just like, all right, let's go check it out. We took the thing from Nagoya. We took, instead of riding a stupid plane, we're like, we're gonna hop on the bullet train.
Bullet train's insane.
We walk down, we like buy our tickets. We're like, I put my board bag right on the edge. I'm like, there's this yellow line. I'm gonna go past it. I'm like, I'm not missing this damn thing. Fucking thing comes humming by at like 200 miles an hour. Almost doesn't even beep in. Nothing. Didn't even see it. I look, I'm like, oh shit. Like my board bag almost got swept in. Next thing you know, I'm like, all right, well we'll get the next one. That one didn't stop. We hop on, we're literally coming out, you're flying so damn fast. You can't even see the buildings outside.
Yeah, you can't look out there, you get dizzy.
You're like, dude, look straight. And then we're at Roppongi, and just like, guys dancing on a wheelbarrow. Boom! Down, he comes up. It was like one of those freaking Wedding Crasher movies. He's like, tooth is gone.
Laughing.
We're laughing our ass off, and the guy's like, oh my god, like tooth, and he smiles, and it's just gone, like half numb. Best thing ever. Those are the stories. Those are the stories. Like, I don't even remember making heat because I was too.
Remember Roppongi?
Yeah.
Oh, see, what that was because of me, Lyndon, breaking up my stories. Okay, so screw you. You don't have any idea.
Yeah.
I don't. Tour's on tour.
Roppongi's gnarly. I'm sure it's gonna take down a lot of Olympians this year.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, speaking of
Phelpsy or his buddy. What is the guy? That's the guy that gets in trouble. In Brazil.
Oh, gosh. Whoever remembers?
I don't know. I know. Phelps has like 18 golds.
So going back to, so you hang it up at 2015.
Well, yeah, I hung it
sort
up.
of.
Tour, like on CT.
If you would even told me at that time, like, oh, you like the coaching thing, I was kind of like, oh, I don't even want to be around this.
Yeah.
I don't even want to be around the industry at that point. Just like, ah. But it ultimately kind of came around, and I'm like, that's my calling, you know?
Yeah.
The knowledge, knowing a lot of the kids, kind of what was going on. I just felt like I can help.
Yeah.
You know? And that was kind of like, yeah, this is
fun.
Obviously, yeah. It's
and rewarding.
It's rewarding.
You're passing on
kids
your
are
experience and knowledge. Like,
that's
and
valuable.
making a living too.
And making a living.
Yeah,
you know?
it keeps me in the water. So kind of with obviously Hurley's help, the ambassadorship role, and kind of moving forward to like, you know, U.S. junior coach, that has been like my new norm, you know, and helping kids that a lot of the kids obviously on the USA team are at a pretty solid level amateurly, making that push.
I hope so, dude.
Yeah,
I feel
for
like,
sure.
I feel like the past couple of years there's definitely getting better, but when we look at the world tour right now, like, who do we got?
Yeah.
It isn't...
Well,
we got Kaloe.
We count Hawaiians.
Hawaiians were killing it, but outside of Hawaii, they're their own.
Well, for our Olympic team,
we count Hawaiians.
Yeah.
Hawaiians don't count Hawaiians.
So it's like, I think we have 8. We're counting Hawaiians.
Yeah.
All right.
So we got Griff, Kalohe, John, Seabass, Connor, Slater,
Courtney.
Well, if we're going to go to the girls' side, I'm thinking
Lakey.
Seabass. No, there's like 6 girls, too.
Zeke Lau.
Zeke.
Zeke.
And Seth.
And Seth.
Yes.
Maniz,
Yeah. So 8, and then we got 6 girls. I think we have Courtney, Lakey, Carissa, Caroline, obviously.
Yeah.
Malia, and Coco.
Dang.
Coco.
So
I guess
those are our Olympic
title
hopefuls.
contenders.
So they're taking the top 2 result, top 2 placing
at the end of the year.
CTs, and then the other 2 are just picked based on like.
No, top 10.
It's top 2, right, from every country.
Not every country is going to have someone.
No, every country's going to have someone.
There's only 20 spots, guys and girls. So the top 10, say there's 4 Brazilians or something,
but
only
they only
the top
take 2.
2.
That's what I'm saying.
Goes down.
From
Jordy for South Africa.
I interpreted.
Say
top
you
2
have
of each country.
John, and we have Chloe, or however it ends up.
Yeah.
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 And then there's going to be a couple from the ISA World Games and a couple from the Pan Am Games.
Okay.
And those are off of, like, say, Central America, South America, some other ways to qualify, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
Who's sitting
That's
on-
so
I'm
rude.
getting butt dialed.
that's so rude.
Dude,
Brett Simpson is here.
locked in?
Simpo is here.
my phone is broken, bro. Look at this.
Broke back.
Simpo is here.
Do you see that?
We're doing a
Buy me a new iPhone, bro.
late night with Chalky podcast with Brett motherfucking Simpo.
Whoa, dude. F-bomb.
Come on.
People love
All
that
right,
phone.
so, I mean, we love that you're transitioning into something that you're passionate about, you know, and you see a future of making, you know, a career, you know, change, which is also, I mean,
Doing what you love.
livelihood. You know,
Doing
you got a
what you
wife
love.
and 2 kids,
For
and
sure, yeah.
you know, you're like, look, this is where I could feel like I could contribute, I could make a living, keeps me in the mix, I keep doing what I love, which is surfing every day. I mean, it's got to be a really
For sure.
cool transition, because as an ex-pro surfer myself, making that transition is probably the hardest decision.
So tough.
And
Super
where
tough.
you
Where do
know,
you fit in?
where do you
What
fit
What do you
in?
enjoy?
Yeah.
The sacrifice of, like, yeah, like we were talking earlier, like, okay, I'll sacrifice a little less money to hang out, have a little more time with the family and kids.
Yeah.
But still, obviously, got to work. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of the, you know, the bread and butter is
Yeah.
like taking care of business, whatever that may be.
Were you able to like put some money aside and do some investments to where you know you're not super worried about paycheck to pay, you know, like
For sure.
You-
I mean,
you-
I mean, that's kind of like, when I, in that extent of, say, the last,
I mean, you had a really good run,
yeah.
like a really
Say
good
the
run.
step from like
10
20 to 30, 20 to 30 at least.
Yeah.
Even there a little bit after, say you're making 6 figures, I put a bunch of money away.
Yeah.
You know, I was putting a lot of money in life insurance for
Yeah.
the family, myself, IRAs, SEP IRAs, whatever. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So there's money.
Your dad helped you.
He did a lot of
bought
that.
that.
Yes. So a lot of that, you know, it could be college for kids, could be
Yeah.
who knows, whatever it is,
Yeah.
you know. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, right now it still is though, you know, where I gotta budget. We like family wise, gotta budget a little bit more.
Yeah.
For sure.
Lady
But
ain't
that's-
getting as many diamonds as she'd like, but hey,
Bro, I'm in the same boat.
dude, I know. She's like, my Mother's Day gift. She just went and bought herself. I'm like,
You
love
got
you,
you got
Happy
her
Mother's
early, early walk through.
Love you, babe.
Hey,
Happy
honey,
Mother's Day.
Hey,
I gotta
I
get
said
my-
it's every other.
But that, I mean, that's cool
Yeah.
because I mean, a lot of people, you know, in any profession, you
sure.
know, like it doesn't matter if you're in football, basketball,
Dude,
hockey,
you
whatever.
see it.
You see
you
it.
see it, and no matter how much money you make to be happy, like you have to find another path that kind of, and that's been hard. Like, dude, even last night I was watching. I don't know what I was watching, but like watching basketball and the Warriors won. I was so pissed off again. I'm like,
You wanted
Portland to get that game. You know, I'm like, dude, I
they
couldn't
almost had
sleep.
it. They were up by
It
15.
fell apart, but yeah.
Yeah. Wait,
I
so
still
wait.
get invested in stuff that I'm
Yeah.
like, why the fuck
you-
am I even caring about this?
Yeah.
You know? But I'm just competitive, and I like, so that stuff doesn't, I don't think
Your
leaves
kid's
you,
name's
you know?
Kobe, right?
Yeah.
Because
White
of
baller, white mamba.
yeah. Are you a Laker fan?
Is he gonna be? Is he gonna
Yeah.
be at least 6'2" and
I
he can
hope,
go after it?
I hope he's like uncles, like her side's like, her dad's 6'5", he's 6'6".
Whoa.
I'm like 6 foot, 6'1", so like
6'1".
hopefully 6'1" with a jumper though, dude. That thing's wet.
Not like Lyndon, like 5'3" and a half. He says a half.
He can
It's
jump.
like-
5'4" and a
He can
half.
dunk,
Oh.
though. He can dunk though.
5'4" and a half,
He can
bro.
dunk.
5'4".
Jeez. Always
Windmill.
picking on the short guy.
Windmill.
But that's you know, so you know, wrapping up to where you are today. You're coaching, like the Hurley. You're doing the
Doing the Hurley deal.
Hurley. What do they call that?
Yeah, like
surf
we're kind of
club?
surf club. Yeah.
Okay.
And we're gonna
Is
go
that every
back.
Friday, right?
Yeah.
Every Friday?
We're gonna go back to a little more of the kind of old school shred stick thing, where it's more communal. I'll probably be going to the East Coast for a little bit
Sweet.
in July and stuff. So, or yeah, June or July. But yeah, that kind of stuff I enjoy too.
Yeah.
And then you're
That-
helping
they do a
out
great
like
job.
Verdone at the Huntington Beach High School surf team a little bit.
So Hurley sponsors them. So I'm kind of that mediator, help the kids, influencer.
Is there going to be a Brett Simpson surf school?
Maybe. I think it's a collaboration. Like we're really I think ultimately trying to transition this Huntington board riders and being a bigger part of that.
Yeah. Because there's a ton of opportunity in that.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of where I see this thing. It's not really me. We've got so many assets here to build this thing.
Here's the thing, though, right? We want you to be the figurehead of Huntington Beach Board Riders Club. But I think, like so many...
Brett Simpson Surf School of pros.
Corky Carroll
No, I don't mean that. I mean like...
Well, no, Corky Carroll...
Like a higher level.
Yeah. But like I mean, I'm just saying Corky Carroll...
has really made...
He's a world champion who has a surf school.
Yeah, dude, and has floated his boat for many years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you have a Brett Simpson fucking academy?
Well, down the line, and I mean...
Surf Academy.
Like, for me now, like, doing some more stuff for USA Surfing, I think in what I envision in working with them and trying to build this thing, because they've done a great job at the amateur level to build a product there. But going forward, now that surfing's in the Olympics, it's gotten a lot bigger.
Yeah. For sure.
All the more...
We're not governmentally funded.
Yeah.
So we have to kind of build this thing from the ground up.
Yeah. You need a lot of industry support.
We need help.
Yeah.
We need help. And I think for many years, maybe, Greg's my buddy, but there was a little bit of pushback. So ultimately, we're trying to bring this thing back in.
Yeah.
I kind of want to be a spearhead of that because I feel like I know a lot of the athletes.
You're not too
old.
We've
kind of had a talk.
Some of the
this
other
is
pros.
all fresh and new, but it's something that needs to be done because the amateur thing's different than when we're dealing with John and we're dealing with our top level athletes, And obviously, they have to qualify through the World Tour anyhow. But still, we need to be there for them. We have to have this tight-knit body going forward. And that could mean we have a training facility, whether it's here, down south.
Yeah.
We have a John Academy in Hawaii. That's kind of the growth
How
of this
good
thing.
does that sound? Brett Simpson Surf Academy.
Dude,
that sounds pretty rad.
I'll invest.
I'll
invest.
Right?
Hey, as long as I get some,
if I can get some investors,
let's talk about
I'll
this.
be there.
As long as I can get some free tips.
The whole West Coast board riders thing and the East Coast board riders thing, it's happening, right?
Yeah.
The future of surfing is looking really promising because of those things.
Yes.
Plus the Olympics, like for me as a
spectator,
you asshole.
He's a part of it.
As a spectator and a fan, of surfing,
out there, dude.
And a fan of surfing, right? I look at what on the WCT, right? We mentioned all those people that are U.S.
You're elite
athletes, but where
you got to invest in the generation.
We need to invest. We need to invest. We need more Griffins, right? We need more Chloes.
Yes.
Like, where are they right now?
Yes.
Right? So...
And I think that shows how, as surfing's even grown, and there is a lot of kids, how small the margin is.
Yeah.
Of finding those.
Yeah. Other people are hungrier, right? Like, other countries are hungrier.
They're hungry, and the commitment, and whether it's talent, whether it's ability,
like, selfishly, right? I don't surf in the... I don't play pro basketball, but I love the Lakers. I want the Lakers to win.
Yes. It's frustrating.
I want Huntington Beach to fucking beat San Clemente.
Yeah, for sure. And
right?
That's going to be tough,
It's super tough. Like, but so we need
But they've kind of had that. They've been breeding them.
Yes.
From a young age, too. And you've had a few come up, and now they're even more, that don't go to school.
But it comes back to not just, there's a lot of families and kids, maybe second, third generation of like surf families that are investing, or maybe it's just the random kid that has a lawyer, doctor. They have resources.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're funding and they're investing in their kids' happiness and future.
Yeah.
But we don't have the infrastructure of, junior contests. We don't have the old Bud Tour or Panasonic Tour, whatever you want to call it. We don't have that stepping stone.
And that's something we really did talk about. Is like the amateur thing's okay, right? It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Whether it's
NSSA,
WSA, you go WSA, NSSA,
but the
you
junior
got the Surfing
tour
Americas, but the junior tours has kind of gotten a little funky. They don't know whether to do 20 or 18, and then it's like the kids leave. We talked about kind of a domestic tour where it's 6 to 8 events.
Yeah.
And so the kids that are 18, they're not jumping right out in the world stage, traveling across the globe, losing first heat and getting freaking the morale's down.
The cool thing about West Coast board riders is what we've talked about.
It's the growth
You got
from
it's grassroots.
Yes.
But it's grassroots with players that have played on the world stage.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like yourself, like Jay, like Matt
So
Archibald.
he did save me on the world stage. He did say that, though.
He's
that.
coming back around.
He's coming back around.
But here's one thing. Don't get mad at me. JJ Larson is going to be a really good surfer someday.
Yeah.
He needs a really good coach.
Yeah,
Brett
for sure.
Simpson.
There is
you know what I mean?
There is some stuff like I feel, and you're obviously a dad at that age, but there is the guidance side, but also like they gotta be out there.
Yeah.
They've gotta experience it. This isn't like just going and hitting the ball. It's like there's so many moving parts of like nonstop little things that you have to you can't master it.
No.
Is a thing.
But
so
the
more time and comfort you put into it,
right,
and
the more experienced, qualified dudes like yourself, they look up to you
for sure,
right? They
don't look up to Jay.
Yeah.
I look up to Jay.
Yeah.
The kids,
They don't even know who I am. They don't even know who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's what I
Kobe
mean.
even said that. He's like, dude, I come home. My kids don't even know I played a freaking game.
Yeah.
Like, they just want to climb on my back, and I got to transition to dad.
Yeah.
And I just scored 81.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
The balance of, like, being on this teeter-totter of, like, how do you balance being great here and great there?
Yeah. But the kid could put in all the time. He could have the coaching. He could surf. But if he doesn't have that bonding and that peer
connection,
that peer pressure, that peer competitiveness, to really kind of like,
and that's what they got down there right now.
Yeah,
they got a lot of kids pushing each other in San Clemente.
Yes,
and they got a great connection. And they back each other,
which is amazing.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's good, and I think everywhere else is seeing that.
Yeah,
and whether you got to take it in the right way though, not being like, screw those guys, and the kids can get that way. And that's where we have to kind of grow this thing. And that's where I'm trying to help is like, I'm not trying to pit them against each other.
No.
But you try to go, look, like this is where we got to get. This is the bar.
This is the bar and it's raised here.
Exactly.
But that's what's cool is once you start like, focusing on your local, community and you got your boys there and your competitiveness. And then you start making those connections through surfing competitions, whether it's board riders, NSSA, whatever, junior tour. You start building those relationships, branching out.
For sure.
You know?
And we don't know. Maybe it's not 5 years. Maybe 10 years down the line we got the next group.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it's always went. There's a couple groups that kind of push each other.
Yeah.
And
does Huntington Beach High School win the...
They won last year.
Did they win? Okay.
Yeah, they won last year.
And that's
and you guys used to
cyclical,
win all the time.
It depends. Like
San Clemente's always they dominated. I don't think we ever won when we were there in the nationals.
We dominated.
They dominated for a long time.
But then Encinitas, they kind of took the reign for a few years when and then San Clemente, it's kind of all it's kind of bounced back and forth. But
and it's funny now.
Surf City, bro.
Yeah. It's
that's
now
supposed
you got a
to be
lot of kids doing the homeschool route though, so it's a little different. Like
which I'm not really a big fan of.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's
selfishly
tough. It's tough because I look at the platform they have to compete already. They're surfing in the mornings. You go to school and you're going to surf after school.
Yeah.
I feel like they could still be at that level. Obviously, sponsor-wise.
You did it.
Well, sponsor-wise, you got guys like, here, we'll send you here, we'll send you there.
Yeah.
Go do this contest, so-and-so. But it's like, yeah, it's tough.
It's a hard
Hey,
call. And I'm
here. If someone becomes John because of homeschool,
yeah, God bless
cool.
them.
Yeah.
I
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's really weird because it's in the past 2, 3, 4 years.
10,
you're just
10.
like
4 to 6. Yeah. Is it 10? You think?
it's been 10 years. Do you think
Probably,
for homeschooling?
Yeah.
I just
But I mean,
for me, I just didn't really notice it until the past couple of years.
I mean, I think our education, and I don't want to get super political or have too many opinions, but
Please don't.
it has its place.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a lot of downtime
Yeah.
during that 6-hour, 8-hour like window of what they're really learning, and then just hanging out and the process. But you gotta hone in on your kids' passion and skill. You know, not saying they need to be a professional athlete, but it could be art. You know,
For sure.
And you're not gonna really expose a kid that is, his
I think that
art
is-
or music or whatever. You know, they might get a taste of it at school, but it's all the extracurricular.
Yeah.
It's the home. It's their personal experience. It might be a coach. It might be a teacher. So it's really about just. I think it's a case by case situation.
For sure.
You know,
Each
and it's not
we're all different.
it's not meant for everybody.
That's
but
where school
I
can
don't look
go.
down on the kids whose parents are like, yeah, I feel like this is.
He can excel there.
They could excel here and give it a shot.
Yeah.
You know,
For sure.
But I do feel the school has a very important
Teaches you
place
some
on
certain
growing
things,
up.
yeah.
Discipline, showing up on time, being
Relationships.
responsible, turning in homework, and that's
Communication.
gonna evolve, down the line. But it's all case by case.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And it's the home factor, like how involved the parents are,
That's the biggest, I think, important thing.
Yeah.
It's
It's not just so much financially. I mean, when you got financial backing, obviously you got more opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's what makes some of these other countries and other people more hungry, like you
Yeah.
were saying, Lyndon. Like, maybe, they don't have that drive here because, it's covered. It's just
spoiled.
But at the end of the day, I think we got a new generation of
Yeah.
hungriness.
Yeah.
Regardless of your backing. I hope.
Yeah.
Come on.
So, and I think that's becoming the more like the Olympics has got into it, and you can start to see a little more support per the country. Yeah. And Brazil's always been good, even though they're battling, they'll always be there for each other at the end of the contest. And that kind of stuff ends up kind of flowing over.
For sure.
But
I'm super psyched on this Board Riders Club, because you're going to have the kids that have the backing and the means by the parents, or maybe the sponsors at an early age. But you might have just as equally as talented kid that might not have that backing, but they still have that resources
to get through
get through that.
And we
that
can
very,
ultimately identify this kid has a chance. Let's give him the opportunity.
Yeah. Whether it's helping him get another extra couple boards, maybe getting a couple of sponsors. I think there's a lot more than just.
And that's what Australia's
you need
done.
to work on your cutback.
It's
emotional and financial support. I think the Board Riders really has that.
I'm so happy about Board Riders Club. It's freaking
Australia
awesome.
created that pretty much to create champions.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah.
For the youth,
Yeah, I don't know if they even had that in mind. I think they just
kind of turned over to that.
It was just their culture.
Yeah.
Surfing was just their culture, and the competition part of it really, I think, was a big part of it. For themselves, and to the talking shit of. I'm sure that was really fun for them. Our club beating your club.
Yeah.
Merriweather.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Well, we're witnessing that with us,
Yeah.
It's only early days, but it's kind of like someone's getting the reins and can't wait till next year.
So, you've done a shitload of traveling, you know, both with probably Hurley team riders, your tour, you know, like competitors, like who's your best like companion to like travel with? Like Gilmet because he was, you know, like, or would it be just a friend from home?
The wife.
Wife? Smart.
You
hear that? Yeah. Best competitor. No. Best companion.
No, I did a lot of traveling, like,
yeah.
I did a lot of traveling with, you know, through the Hurley with Ace. He was obviously a few years older, so he kind of had that veteran, been to these spots, kind of identified, helped out. The Hobgoods were a huge part.
Yes.
They like took me in the first year I made the tour. I ended up staying at some spots with them. Tahiti. These unknowns were kind of like they just mapped it out for me a little bit, you know.
That's so cool.
And so that was like really huge. And they're like, I guess as a relationship going forward, we're still in great contact. And
but isn't that what's great about surfing? Even though you're competing against each other for event wins and tour status and this and that, like you're still, you know.
And there's very few like them.
But the Hobgoods, you know, like
for
you know,
sure.
Like
guys that reach out,
yeah.
where you're like, dude, out of the blue, qualified. Some guy, world champ, texts you like, hey, let me know if you need any help. It's like, dude, that shit doesn't happen, really, you know, because it's 32 guys. You're cutthroat. This is like, but he reached out. CJ reached out and Damo was like, if you need help, let us know. We've obviously done it for a long time, like, you know, cool. That kind of stuff. And it's led on just as like obviously their careers and myself, and it's just.
But that's made, you know, this stuff like that is kind of giving you a bigger picture of what Brett Simpson is and what he
kind of
is.
like what they've went through.
Yeah.
To like myself, it's like
pay it forward.
Exactly.
Pay it forward.
Exactly.
I mean, there's no other better reward
than
to like pay it forward and seeing somebody else like reap the you know, information or the guidance that you've given them.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't, like, a lot of the kids are going to succeed, but it's like, dude, you just seeing that, you're just stoked, you know? It doesn't, for me now, it's like, I'm in that position.
I so bad want my kid to go on tour.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go back to these places so bad.
I know.
I'm just being brutally honest. Like,
wow,
it
came out here.
No, I'm just saying, like, I mean, my best, you know, I had to, you know, just like anybody, like traveling the world was insane.
That was our college.
Yeah. And I mean, you want your
Lucky
kid to,
you.
Yeah. You want your kid, the next generation, you want them to succeed and have like great experiences and stuff, you know. And I mean, I'm of course
you had such a great time.
Such a great time.
And look at you.
Both
of you guys are successful dudes.
If you make it out alive, dude,
I was going to bring that up. Bro,
yeah, you learn a lot.
I was going to bring this up because I saw an old video. Short.
Was I face down?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
Lugo.
Oh,
God. That's sabotage, dude.
So
late night.
It
was
late night simp.
Late night simp, but you know what? We could talk about this because it's a learning experience.
It really
right?
is.
And
because you tell yourself every time you have that crazy hangover, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah.
And then the next night,
dude, I'm still doing it. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I'm still learning.
Yeah,
so
I've had my fun.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like you've had your fun, but you're still even keeled. You're learning. You've learned, and this is the knowledge that you're going to pass on.
That's
to the
That's
kids.
what keeps me kind of. Maybe I don't
Threw a
want
wrench
these
in there,
kids to experience this. So not to that extent, but like
to navigate
but like,
that
hey,
though, like to
when
be able.
When we're at a comp, we're focused. No one's partying, right?
Yeah.
Then after we
lose.
succeed, we do well, we lose or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a
Lots of
chance
steam.
there. Yeah, after that, you might have, you know. But what I'm dealing with amateurs. You know, I'm dealing with kids a lot of them under 18.
Yeah.
So that's a different story. You know. So the guidelines have to be drawn right there early before the event.
Yeah.
I mean, before anything.
Yeah.
Right. But as you go on the tour, there's a lot of fun stuff. You want to find fun things to do.
You'll find
it.
Yeah.
You want to make the tour? Try not to find it.
Yeah.
or find it after you're on the podium or something. I mean, that's kind of and you look at a lot of guys now, they're still it's still to this day. Back in more so when you guys, they seemingly did it before and after.
Yeah.
Now it's a little more, you can still find it, but guys are focused.
Yeah.
More so like, hey, whether you're coming from Brazil and some of the guys don't have a sponsor, they're banking on that prize money
to get to the next event.
Make to the next event and go through this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not going to F it up.
Yeah.
And that's the balance now.
It's funny though.
It's more professional in a sense.
And that's what's great.
Yeah.
You look back at those things, right? Like, those are the things that helped you figure things out
For
in
sure.
the future.
For sure.
Right?
Oh, well, it helped me grow as a person.
It helps you grow as a person.
You need those losses, those nights where you're like, what the hell was I doing? It all comes to fruition of like, okay, this is what life's about, you know? Those relationships, those nights, being with your bros and whatever it is, you know? It's like, dude, that stuff, you do... Some of the
best memories ever. As much as like winning an event,
a final or this and that. I remember getting punched out in Merriweather, or like what? Well, maybe don't remember, but certain things like that, you know, where you're out with your bros and it's like
this is having fun, living life, not having regrets, but being trying not to be a jackass,
an imbecile,
or an imbecile.
Yeah,
good call.
I got to figure that out.
Yeah,
Still
this guy is. He's still alive.
Hey, we have our moments still.
Yeah.
If you ask my wife, I'm a jackass.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I mean,
can I take a leave?
Yeah. All right, we're gonna pause because we gotta take a break. All right, commercial break is over. We're back into the hot seat over here with Brett Simpson.
Simpo,
dude.
Come on.
2-time
Mate.
U.S. Open champion.
That's it. Legend.
I'll take that one to my grave, I guess.
Yeah.
So
you oughta.
Simpo, we're super stoked that you're moving on from the professional career to helping the new generation of youth, helping out with the USA amateur and everything there. But how do you feel like now with surfing being so social media driven versus the print driven, like ad campaigns of the generation of where we started way back then? Like, you have 76,000 followers on Insta. That's super relevant right now.
It's pretty much, if you do it the right way, it obviously, it's a balance, because it's a resume in a sense.
Yep.
You're building your content. A lot of guys build their content on there.
Self-promote.
If they're doing that day, or you can put an edit on there pretty much. You can get over a minute, right?
Yeah.
So you can kind of, your self-promotion, you're obviously bringing your sponsors along with you, and you're kind of on this journey where people can see it.
Yeah.
Like for myself, 76,000, you got a lot of guys, millions, hundreds, it's like, that's kind of where it's gone, obviously. And whether or not it's the perfect thing, it's ultimately, if you do it like I said, you do it the right way, you're professional about it, obviously still show a little bit of who you are.
Yeah.
That's the part, is like, some of this stuff you don't know what to believe, if it's true or fake or whatever it is, but that's kind of...
It's crazy to me because to have that many followers, right?
I bought them all. Don't tell anyone. Shh.
But it's like a true reflection of who you are today. You know what I mean?
And I think a lot of it did come, like, obviously making the tour, and this was like the realm of Instagram. Obviously it's taken over now.
Yeah.
But it was kind of coming through there, and tour notes with PK did a great job, and like, we just wanted to be, it was just about like what was going on outside of like the comp or even behind the scenes. And that kind of stuff is like, dude, we're all normal dudes. Like, we're girls. Like, we're having fun, And obviously being professional, like, everyone's wanting to win. And I think that's the part of, like, it's a balance, And, like, dude, we're having a good time. And it's like, let's show that rather than just showing this guy, like, my board sucked or he, like, punched, It's like, that's part's fun,
you get all of it, too.
You get a balance, And I think that's kind of the fun part about it.
But your Instagram feed is... It's surfing
I would say 92% of the time.
For sure, yeah.
And then it's family too,
Yeah.
which is.
I mean, for me, it should be probably the other way, but
you know
family,
what I mean?
yeah, no.
It's cool.
I'm still feel like I'm a pro surfer, but
you are.
I'm doing the family deal.
Yeah.
And I'm balancing the coaching, and so that's kind of for me. It's like it's just showing what I'm doing.
Yeah. That's
not trying to
My point is, it's a rad Instagram account to follow because being a fan of surfing and being a fan of family and real people
behind.
It's rad to see you doing your fucking reverses and then you having
some Grom fall on his head,
your Grom fall on his head, but also you putting the iPhone down
and shooting hoops.
Yeah,
that's my go-to.
Are you kidding me? That's
every Thursday. I should do wet Wednesdays or something. Just bah, 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 bah.
But it's like you said,
don't tell anybody.
It's just letting a little insight of your personal life, because up until that social media, it was what your sponsors wanted to promote in the magazine, or your last result of the surf contest, and it was nobody really got who you are.
And let's bring it all back for a sec. It's you look at a guy like John.
Yeah.
He doesn't maybe want so much of his personal life, a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Which is, dude, you totally get it. When you have kids, you're you don't want to really put your always on there. And he went blank for a while. He got hurt and he was not really posting. Now he's kind of been back on it, doing some stuff with Ross and behind the scenes with boards and and who knows if that's his love or someone saying, hey, let's.
Well, who's Parallel C and then who's John?
That's their actual they have an actual, is it a video agency or company?
Yeah.
That's him. That's their deal. Him and Eric, his filmer, they produce content
for Parallel C.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's their brand.
And then John has his John handle.
Yeah. So that's kind of what's the Parallel C is covering where they're at.
Yeah.
That stuff. But
But that could bring
because that's
what
for me. You should start another account the one that you have, and then something else,
a coaching side.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
that's so much work. You want to promote both.
That is true. I mean, it is. I mean,
but I think you'll have the following, and you have the notoriety of being able to almost separate
it a little bit. Yeah.
But I love it. I love
I
what
try
you
to
do
keep
with
it real and raw. You know.
And,
I like somebody's post. I might lose a few followers. Oh well.
Yeah.
It's dude.
Yeah, I didn't get as many likes in that last picture. I must be doing something wrong.
That stuff doesn't really ultimately bother me. Yeah, you look at the comments and whatever, but it's if you let that stuff affect you, good night. Because there's a lot of bull crap going on there.
Yeah.
But it's ultimately you be real. You try to keep it what's right. What's fun.
Yeah.
And that's for me is kind of the ultimate and what's professional.
Yeah.
Because you have kids. And I've had ones where I posted, I'm dude, that probably wasn't that smart. And I'm sure all people go through that, And it's you got kids following your page. Don't do that, And so you really do got to think through that thing. And the more professional you get, and these guys are setting an example for the youth.
Yeah.
It's dude,
social media is super powerful.
We're adults.
Yeah.
We have to nurture them the right way.
Yeah.
And that's kind of...
Social media is super powerful. You want to not put out a fake,
Yeah, exactly.
personality, a fake presence.
For sure.
But you also want to be conscious of hey,
how's that going to affect?
I want to send out positive vibes.
Yeah.
Not everything I'm doing, and I might have down days, or hey, I don't want to be fake, and I'm going to show some of the faults and stuff, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
life.
where you want to. Yeah, that's life. That's what you want.
People suffer with depression. Look at our good buddy.
Funny. I know.
It's dude, we need to be there for them. We need to be there for those people.
Yeah.
And instead of writing a dickhead comment, how about you write something positive, or how
Yeah.
And those are the type of things where it can change someone's life. And so
absolutely.
and it's brutal in that sense at a point. But that's where I say, like, as a professional, you got to look at it like, yeah, it's kind of your platform. It's your resume nowadays.
Yeah.
And not that it's, like we said, it's the perfect way, but ultimately it can be great.
Really,
it can be really great.
Yeah.
You know, and so for me, that's just be as real as possible.
I mean, we all want to spend less time on our electronics and have more face to face.
For sure.
More like real.
Well, I think
conversations.
that's what we're losing.
And that's what we're
like,
losing.
The last thing you want to see is like my 2-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Me just on my phone.
And
I catch myself doing that. I'm like, dang it.
And that's why we love podcasts, and that's why we started this, is like, there's nothing better than having like real conversations and talking about
engaging in it.
Yeah.
Like today I was surfing and I saw one of these guys. He doesn't talk that much, but I see him out all the time. I'm like, what's up, dude? And I got some words out of him.
Yeah.
I'm like, how are you today? And that kind of stuff, you never know. Like where it'll set off or where it'll go.
Yeah.
And that kind of is like, dude, he talked to me. He actually engaged in it. It's like sick.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I guess, the sensitive, the insensitive side. You got to be careful, in a sense. But yeah, be real, be raw. Like, I mean, dude, look at like Kawhi Leonard. He doesn't have an Instagram. He's a great player. Just doesn't say much. Like, that's pretty sick.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
I love that.
He's old school.
He's old school.
Yeah.
That's like Mike Trout. He's got an Instagram, but he doesn't do like. He's real.
They're getting their ass whooped though, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Giannis
Antetokounmpo. Yeah. Good luck saying that 2 times fast.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they win one game.
Yeah, they'll get one tonight, I think.
So in Minnesota?
If I have a few more.
Wait,
if I have a few more drinks,
Milwaukee?
I'll win.
Hey, enough basketball talk.
All right, sorry.
Simpson's got to go back to his
I gotta
like
go
family
get my
and
nails
stuff.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm either gonna get a divorce or we're getting our nails done.
Anything you want to promote or anything like you want to say before, like, to the youth, like, say, or anybody that loves surfing, like anything that comes to your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I guess for my instance, this is like growing, or kind of what I've been through, where I've kind of gone to get here. I guess over the years as it's gotten obviously more professional, but for the youth is obviously listen to the people that are like past you. Listen to that guidance, that knowledge. It really does matter. I think a lot of kids kind of let it go right through one ear and out the other and kind of think they know everything. And not that, but I think that's what helped me a lot, like yourself and guys, D-Bot, and guys that you really got to embrace that to get to that top level.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of, I'm sitting here with you guys and I'm trying to kind of, do this USA surfing thing and this coaching thing. And it's like, you just want to give the right knowledge. Everyone's different, and it's like, what may work for you will be different for you. Yeah. And so it's trying to find that, and trying to kind of ultimately.
But that gives you drive too.
Exactly. It's trying to like, hey, what was your, I don't know what your background was and maybe like how you grew up with your parenting and all that stuff. I think it really does matter on how you coach someone or mentor them to move on in life, and I think those are the things I'm still learning, and it's like, it's kind of getting to know the youth and the kids better. And but ultimately, just be professional. You're gonna lose a lot. You're gonna have to learn. Yeah. And those are the things where you see it, where kids, we obviously lose our tempers, and it's not bad. I love to see passion. Passion's like the best thing ever. Yeah. But and someone always said like, try to make your passion your job. And that's what I followed. Is like, man, I love surfing. If I can make this thing my job.
Yes,
it'd be the best life in the world, and I was able to do that, and I'm still amongst it. And so, I guess for the youth is which like I'm most engaged in is like, try to make that passion, but notice the signs, try to find those signs, find those things like, hey, for some it might not be the right calling. You might be better at something else, or you might be super knowledgeable.
Try as hard as you can.
Exactly.
Figure out if it's
the right thing to do or not.
Yeah, and it's not easy. You're gonna freaking cry. You're gonna smile. You're gonna laugh. There's gonna be all of it.
It's life.
It's life. Yeah, but that's I feel like, dude, I went through like a lot. Like I grew up good, right? Like I had parents that worked their butt off. Dad played football. We weren't well off. Like we're fine, right?
Yeah.
But like weren't millionaires or anything. But it was like work ethic was installed early, and it's like I'm not just gonna give you anything. You could
have natural talent, but you still have to put the work in.
And so that was kind of like I look back now and I go, God,
what's funny?
Them for that.
What's funny and kind of awesome is they might get that from you and not from their parents.
For sure,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well, the parent, and even if so, the parents might
if JJ
say
went
that.
to you,
no, it's funny.
If JJ starts going to Coach Simpo, he's definitely going to be in a better place.
Simpo Surf?
Yeah.
Simpo Surf. He could be
keep it simple.
2029 world champ. Who knows?
Yeah.
How old would he be?
27. We need 2 years earlier.
We've already had our number down.
Lara's like, I can't be 60.
You're late. You're late to the party.
I won't be pulling into Chopu at 60.
Yeah, I guess it's all about the youth.
He's already got it mapped out.
Yeah, he knows.
I'm not pushing it. I just want him to have fun.
His first win's gonna be in Lacanau, France, 2024.
Jeez, not even.
How old is
10.
So yeah, he's got
he's got a way.
7, 8, 9 years.
Problem. But no, we love, obviously that's our podcast, and we grew up surfing, and that's our connection with everybody we interview. And just like you, I wish all we could do is surf all day and make a living somehow doing it.
And that's why I'm definitely blessed. I've been lucky. It's not always like you said. It's not easy. It wasn't easy. There was ups and downs. Yeah. Contemplation of, frick, do I got to ghost? Do I got to get a job? Do I got to move on? And luckily I had support, and people believed in me. And that shit goes so far.
Yeah.
To get that
But you reap what you sow. So,
for sure. Did I make mistakes? Yes.
Right, but what I'm saying is like
check.
Yeah. Did I do some dumb stuff? Yeah.
Check.
Yeah. But you're a good person. You
I feel like I am.
You reap what you sow in this life. Karma is a bitch, and if you're not treating people well, or you're not,
for sure. That is number one. It's connections. You make friends with the right people. You do the right things. That stuff will come back. Yeah. And sometimes it might be longer than you expect or hope.
Yeah.
But that will ultimately.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's what shines on your personality, your follower. Like what you do is, there's so much negativity out there, and you can't think about like that. Like,
no, for sure.
You just got to go your own path. Focus on positivity, and just not worry about what people are going to say.
And I guess that's like my goal now is kind of, obviously all these kids, most of them have the parents but it's the guidance to help them kind of mentor where they need to go. And that's the process of like, okay, even if you don't become the best pro surfer in the world, what's the next best thing for you? And it's just giving them that opportunity to excel. They might
make a ton of relationships in the surf industry, gone to college, and then come back and work at one of these companies as an executive.
Dude, where it's going, like who knows in 10 years? Like NCAA could have a surf division. These companies, like they could grow so much where there is a collegiate like champ, and the NSSA does one now, but like I'm saying that, like, dude, you look at college sports. Stuff's gnarly. Like,
wave pools at every college, dude.
Wave pools at every
the football
college.
field. Just kidding.
Imagine that.
No.
Who knows what?
80,000 raucous crowd just rumbling, trying air.
Tailgate. I'm going to be tailgating.
It's not an ACL, it's a hammy. I just did me hammy on that first air. Out for the event.
Brett Simpson, I think we need to wrap it up so you don't get
I'm done.
a wifey that's just gonna freak out. Yeah, babe, it's gonna be like an hour. I'll be home.
Yeah, I told her that.
Yeah, once the kids wake up from their naps. Yeah.
Okay.
we got to wrap it up, right? Brett Simpson, been riding for Hurley for how long?
Forever.
Almost 15 years.
15 years
Yeah.
and 15 more.
15 beautiful years. Yeah.
Who knows how much longer? You got a
For
long
sure.
future with Hurley. Thank you, Bob Hurley. Thank you, Pat O'Connell,
For sure.
for finding him out early on and bringing him on the Hurley family.
Exactly. Yeah. Most definitely. Aaron Pye.
Aaron Pye,
He's-
Huntington Surf
The
and
last
Sport.
probably 5 years, he's been such a great
Garth
mentor.
Tarlow.
Garth Tarlow.
I did
Pod.
Pod. For sure.
Andy
He
Verdone.
Andy
jump-started-
Verdone.
All these guys gave me that kind of jump start
Yeah.
to
Late
having
night.
that late night dog.
You know?
JD.
But you know what?
JD Barry.
We want to thank Brett Simpson.
Timmy. Timmy was a big guy. You know, obviously being a few years over, he was a big, help and mentor.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. Someone to look up to from
sure.
Huntington, from
Yeah.
your hood.
To have it, like, he was the year he got injured, he was like top, I think he finished 10th and he missed a few events.
Yeah.
So, like, he was kind of at that point, for me coming up, it was like, man, it gave us hope. And like now with Kanoa,
Yeah.
I know it's like, he's seen it, obviously, like feeling it,
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Is he going to
see
break the two U.S. Open?
I
back to
know,
backs?
dude.
Oh.
He could easily, man.
He's
got it unlocked.
been ripping.
Yeah.
But
Anyways,
so the show is about Brett Simpson.
yeah,
Okay.
We'll see it. Kanoa will be out here soon.
yeah, soon.
No, but Brett,
Thank
thank
you.
you
Thank you guys.
for taking the responsibility of Surf City's future.
For sure.
And-
Yeah, it's
and-
my role now, I feel.
Yeah.
I put my foot out there, put my foot in the door, and now it's like, all right, how do we nurture this next group of kids, And that's kind of like what I look at as like, man, we have everything we need.
Yeah.
But it's kind of giving them that little extra,
Yeah.
hey, don't sit on your butt,
Yeah.
And I think that's the part you can get a little bit stuck up in, but like, hey, let's go,
Yeah.
let's give them the right guidance that they need.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's cool. I see a bright future for Surf City, like I was saying, and the kids that are surfing South Side, North Side. We got a great mentor.
What about River Boys?
Or Pier Boys.
They're over me. Alright, whatever.
No, but anyways, we appreciate your time. We know you're valuable. You're a dad. You got kids. You're coaching. You're doing all this stuff, and to sack up 3 hours on a Friday,
Yeah.
it's not too
I'm
bad, right?
stoked. No,
It goes
no.
quick, right? Here,
Yeah,
yeah. So much fun.
I've had a blast.
Late night
I could be here all day.
Dude,
Chalky
I could talk
podcast.
all day.
we're going to do this again
Yeah,
after
After we win gold.
After we win gold,
Yeah.
Yes.
After we win gold. After we win gold.
Board riders.
Board
when's the
Riders
next-
goes back to back.
Yes.
Yeah, we start in October.
There we go.
Or no, September.
September.
I think September's the first event. So.
Sweet.
So all you listeners, check Brett Simpson out on his Insta handle
At Brett Simpo.
at Brett Simpo, and make sure you support all of his sponsors. Make sure you tune in to every episode of the Late Night and Chalky podcast.
Yeah. Thanks, Brett.
Thanks.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Peace out.
Peace in the Middle East.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Please give us a 5-star rating and spread the word.
Special thanks to our good friends James Williams for our awesome artwork and Justin Reynolds for the amazing music.